I can see this rivalry going on for a long while, the two teams.
Yeah, well, happily you can see all that on ITV, and you'll be watching as well. But his manner as well, he done really well, because he came over in a really unhappy sort of storm, didn't he, to begin with?
Yeah, well, he's coming into a different culture, as he says. Arsene Wenger wouldn't have been used to the media the way we have to deal with it. You have to deal with the truths and the lack of truths that goes on. So you've got to have a tough edge to you to get through that before you get to the football.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, that's fascinating stuff. Some more cup action now as we complete our review of the competition on the road to the final with Jim Rosendahl.
Round 6 for Arsenal and 2 episodes against the EastEnders West Ham. Dennis Bergkamp plays an interesting part. His equalising penalty means a replay. But there's a simmering subplot at the end of the 1-1 draw at Highbury, and that bubbles to the surface at Upton Park. All sorts of characters are given very physical roles. Then, for Footballer of the Year, read Dirty Den.
There was a clash there between Bergkamp and Lomas off the ball, which the referee had a good view of it. It's a red card for Dennis Bergkamp. Overmars. Play back to Vieira. And now Anelka taking over. Oh, that's a superb goal by Nicholas Anelka. Into the path of John Hartson. Trying to run past Keogh. Still Hartson on the wall. John Hartson! Tony Adams says, I'll have a bit of this. And Adams gives Arsenal the advantage. Abu to keep West Ham in business. Ah, he's missed it! And it's Arsenal who go through to the semi-finals by the width of a coat of paint.
Where Seaman's fit to replace Manninger, Abu just feels like a good cry. Unlikely heroes at Wolves, Hans Sagers cleared of match-fixing allegations last year, and Don Goodman, whose career of hard knocks includes a fractured skull. They carry George Graham's Leeds out of the cup.
Now Robinson. Goodman's onside here. Don Goodman! He's got past Keane, has he? No, penalty! Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Saved! Oh, what a moment for Hans Sagers and for Wolves!
Steve Thompson takes charge at Sheffield United. Caretaker manager, they call him, hardly surprising. The kit man, physio, manager, his assistant and the chairman had all gone this season. Brazilian Marcelo's equaliser takes Coventry to Bramall Lane.
We have a touch from Boateng and the driver's gone in! Well, Bockus with it. Whelan's header, Nielsen up there. Oh, it's gone in! And it's Holdsworth with the volley! Perhaps the most pressured moment in the young footballing life of Welshman Simon Howard. A summer signing from Cardiff, big moment, and Kelly saves again! Step forward, Wayne Quinn. Into the semi-finals of the FA Cup goes Sheffield United. Fantastic night for Steve Thompson, for his many followers, and most of all on St Patrick's night for Alan Kelly.
No smoke without fire at Newcastle. Directors Douglas Hall and Freddie Shepherd resign after revelations about their private life. But cup success is some compensation in a miserable month of March.
Touch from Lee, through for Kensmire. Somebody Kensmire scores. Anderson's away, 3 in his wake. Chance for Anders Anderson, saved by Watson. There's speed. 2-0 Newcastle. Bullock now for Barnsley, looking for support. Andy Liddell, hope for Barnsley. Gary Speed, now Rob Lee, support from Batty, David Batty, signed, sealed and delivered.
So, semi-final Sunday, Premiership against Nationwide, Newcastle Sheffield United at Old Trafford. First, Arsenal Wolves at Villa Park.
Sedgley had his back to the ball then, and here's Vieira, and here's a possibility, and Ray has made it 1-0.
Beat for Pearce. Now John Barnes. Aimed at Alan Shearer. Saved by Kelly. It's Alan Shearer again for Newcastle.
That leaves a canny Scott, a deep-thinking Frenchman, already a winner, hunting le double. There's always hope when you've got the best there is. And hope springs eternal.
What a wonderful shot, and I'm sure he's here today, that great supporter, because this is the Newcastle United team coach, and it's just in its final stages, Terry, here, of getting to the dressing rooms. Could you spot, you know, family or friends in this?
Well, you can do, especially when it's just cruising in very slowly like that. But now when the goosebumps come up the arms and down the back of the neck is when you just arrive into that tunnel.
It's like a castle entrance, isn't it, Terry, that? Those big doors.
You're being engulfed, and you disappear and you come out again through the tunnel, and that's the next time that the public will see you, and everyone's doing their own little things that they like to do before the game. They don't really want to hear the voice of the manager too much. I like coming out of the dressing room and then going in about 15 minutes before the end, just to make that impact and make those little reminders necessary. And we're all, otherwise I think a lot of the time a manager's in there for an hour, he's doing a lot of it for himself. And sometimes the players are doing their own rituals, you know, putting their kit on in the same way, like you were.
Oh, I was terrible.
Like we all were. So you understand that, and it's very, very exciting now, time for them. And
well, we can feel it ourselves here. Yeah, we're both very envious. We're getting too old, Terry. That's what it is. Right. Time now for the FA Cup Goal of the Season competition. Now the prize for the winner is £1,000 in cash. All you have to do is to pick the best 3 goals from the short list of 7 to agree with the verdict of Ron Atkinson. And here we go.
The magnificent.
So Watford chasing the game now and in search of an immediate equaliser. It's come to Peter Kennedy. Kennedy! What a response! What a drive!
Human against human.
A little bit of space now for Kinkladze. Away from Berkovic, away from Potts. Great run by Kinkladze. Yes! Oh, he's a magician.
Keep possession there. It's with Bullock again. Now Redfern again. And he's played it for Barnard on the far side. It's a great goal.
Oh, good turn there by Wallace. He's giving it back to Hasselbank. Chance for Jimmy Floyd, Hasselbank! Terrific finish!
The magnificent.
Grimondi on for Bergkamp. Always a threat whenever he's anywhere near the goal. And that's a fabulous strike.
Marcus Hall. Now Darren Huckabee. Terrific with ball at feet, Huckabee. Oh, between 2 defenders. Fantastic individual skills from Darren Huckabee.
So the 7 to choose from: 1, Peter Kennedy; 2, Georgie Kinkladze; 3, David Ginola; 4, Darren Barnard; 5, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank; 6, Dennis Bergkamp; 7, Darren Huckabee. And the number to ring is 0891 333 666. That's 0891 333 666. The lines are open until midday Tuesday, and the result will be announced in the Champions League final programme on Wednesday evening. And I can tell you about another fabulous prize we'll be offering on major ITV sport programmes over the coming weeks. We're calling it the Glorious 12th competition, because this is what will be on offer for the winner on July the 12th, the VIP day of a lifetime for two. In the afternoon, you'll be our guests at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, one of the blue ribbon races in the World Championship season, of course. As well as grandstand seats for the race, you'll be invited to a look behind the scenes at the track. Then it's in the helicopter and over the channel for a touchdown at the Stade de France. The World Cup final is part 2 of your blockbuster day out. Again, the best seats in the house, and a tour of ITV's setup is part of the prize. Now then, the 4 programmes you need to watch to get the 4 separate questions we'll set you are as follows. The first one will come today at half-time. Part 2 will be in our live Champions League final on Wednesday, Juventus against Real Madrid, remember that final. Then it's the Monaco Grand Prix, qualifying on Saturday and then the race on Sunday. And the final question will be in our Canadian Grand Prix coverage the first weekend in June. All the details are on Teletext page 127. A truly fabulous prize then. There we go. And we're just hearing that the Arsenal coach is following Newcastle here to Wembley. This is the last few yards before it comes into, if you've not been here, I can tell you, 2 giant gates, Terry, aren't they? Those great iron gates at the...
Yeah, it looks like one of those films from Dr. No, doesn't it? One of those James Bond films that opens up, takes you in, and it's an incredible experience. And of course, the next thing that we're all waiting for now, of course, is the teams themselves. I can't wait to find out who the Newcastle team's going to be, of course. I think the main thing about Newcastle, what we must realise, they've got danger men in not only Alan Shearer is the best player on the, or striker on the pitch in my opinion, but maybe one of the best in the world. And I think Robert Lee also will be a big danger today to the Arsenal team.
He looks a little worried there, Arsene Wenger, going through.
Well, he always looks a little worried, doesn't he? He always looks a little grimacing, but I'm sure Ian Wright will make up for him.
Nicolas Anelka there, Gilles Grimandi.
Yes.
And those are the masseur and the assistant physio there. Alex Manninger going the wrong way. He's an Austrian.
That's the first time.
Okay, now I think we can hear straight away from Kenny Dalglish. She's down there on the Wembley pitch. Well, he is there, Kenny, but we can't hear from him. We've got a little bit of a problem with the mics at this moment. But Terry down on the pitch at this moment. I mean, he has been and he's done so much, Kenny, so his nerves will be really controlled, won't they?
Well, he will be. His experience will give him that, but he's had such an indifferent season. I mean, it's been a tough season for Newcastle. It's been a poor season by what they would expect. But there they are. They've got themselves to a cup final, and you've got to have great credit for that. And it's heaven sent in one way. If he can pull that off today, that everything would be forgiven, I think, and let's go for next season.
When they do come out onto the pitch here, which we can see behind us, when they do come out, how important do you think that is? Some players like it, some players don't.
Well, I always liken that to a big club player and a small club player. Some guys will go to Man United and peer around the corner, and others will stick their chest out. But with a cup final, they've been preparing. They're used to their own teammates, and they feel comfortable with them. And there's Barnsley.
John Barnes shaking hands with David Seaman.
David Seaman, of course,
Alan Shearer as
well. A great confrontation between Seaman and Shearer, and they're always pulling each other's leg about who scores
those two there,
doesn't.
Stuart Pearce and Seaman, and you're a 96. I mean, he took the penalty and then turned round to David Seaman and said, "You make sure you stop the next one," didn't he?
That would be Stuart, yeah. But he looks so full of confidence, David Seaman, as they all do. Arsenal look very confident today.
These are great moments, aren't they, for all these people? I should think for Arsene Wenger there, it's particularly sort of almost a poignant moment for him.
I think so. Ruud, as I mentioned earlier, said you don't know what an English Cup final, you've seen it around the world, to experience it, be on the Wembley turf, you know what it means to English people. And I think after today, he will know that. He's won a championship, you know, how much more can he do? Well, what he can do is is win the cup final too and make it a double, you know.
Yeah.
And,
Is there any psychology to be gained, do you reckon, by Newcastle already being out there before the Arsenal players and saying,
not
well,
really.
we're already here, boys? you
Well,
know?
superstitions would take place, but there's nothing else. I think some managers like to be first on the coach, then they like to be first in the tunnel, and even to extent I've known managers wait for the coach to go in so they're second. They think if they're second in, that will give them an edge, and it's only superstition. Of course, it's got nothing to do with the result at all.
Tony Adams there, give me a word about him.
Tony Adams, I've got to say, everyone's a big fan of Tony Adams, but I must be, or maybe, the best supporter of him. You've got to work with him. You know very well when you've worked with him, and I only worked with him for 2 years with the England team, you know what he's about. He's a colossus. I mean, and he has been there through all the times of lifting trophies. The one thing that's been instrumental, along with one or two other players, is the skipper. And I know what George Graham thinks of him, and I, after working for him, as I say, I just think the man is such a great leader.
Would you allow any of your players to wear a ponytail like that, Manu Petit?
I'd have to have a good go at getting it cut off, but it depends how good he was.
Now there is a very, very sad guy. Dennis Bergkamp with Pat Rice, the assistant manager.
Exactly. It's football life is strange. He's had so much this year. A double player of the year in both the Players' Union and also from the media. A great season for him. He's missed so much of the season, of course, as well. And to be able to be the player of the year with all that, I think is fantastic. And there he comes to his great day, and he's missing, and that is very sad for him.
Maybe that's why they're wearing these black suits and grey shirts.
In anticipation, was it?
I mean, no, I mean just in sympathy, really, for Dennis Bergkamp, I think, Terry.
That's right. I thought, actually, when Bergkamp wasn't going to play, I was wondering whether Wright would have played to knock Newcastle back on their heels, but to be fair, he's gone with Ray before. It's worked for him. He's got Wrighty on the bench. So he's obviously given that a lot of thought, and he knows the fitness of Wright, and he knows his players obviously are better than we do.
It's important, really. It's important, really, for Wrighty because there's a World Cup coming up, as we know.
Well, that's right, but you know, I mean, Wenger's going to be saying, well, if I can help you, Ian, that's great, but that's not in the front of my mind. In the front of my mind is to do the best for Arsenal Football Club.
Okay, now we're going to be hearing from some of the players in a short time now, but at this very moment we're going to go to Barry Venison. He's got some of the key contests in this confrontation.
There used to be boring Arsenal, famous for winning 1-0. Well, recently their opponents have been lucky to get nil. David Seaman is back to top form. He's a very influential, discreet keeper who goes about his business with a calm, controlled air, instilling a quiet confidence in all in front of him. At the other end, Shea Given, an amiable Irish lad, has fielded as many questions about his height as he has crosses. Shea, surprisingly 6 feet plus, is best known for his prowess as a shot stopper and sprightliness across his line. He'll need all his natural athleticism and agility if he's going to keep a clean sheet against the now not so boring Gunners. Two players whose performances today may not hit the headlines, but Pistoni against Parlour could still be an influential battle. Ray Parlour gives the Gunners natural balance on the right, making surging runs with or without the ball and getting a few goals along the way. His fantastic form has been fueled by a real confidence based on a newfound dedication, application and desire to be a top-class player. He's now a real 90-minute handful for any left-back. Alessandro Pistoni, still only 22, and arrived from Inter Milan with a reputation as the next Paolo Maldini. And though Pistoni can cover the ground and attack down the left in the same swashbuckling style as Maldini, he's not as accomplished defensively. But who will force who to defend? I expect the newly motivated Parlour to outpower the leggy Italian. This is an epic battle of two heavyweight competitors and leaders. Under Arsene Wenger, Tony Adams' ability to direct the most experienced defence in the league has been complemented by a more creative aspect, without compromising his miserly aptitude to conceding goals. A giant of a character, he knows from experience exactly what's needed to outwit, outfox and outmuscle any type of forward. It's no coincidence that without Alan Shearer, Newcastle have struggled this season, and no coincidence that Shearer's FA Cup goals have led to the less than mighty Magpies return to Wembley for the first time in 20-odd years. In spite of that misconduct charge, Alan plays in his first cup final, and don't be surprised if, given the chance, Alan Shearer raises his arms rather than his feet in a customary goal celebration. I take Shearer to score, but Adams to lift the trophy.
Okay, well, do you see any other confrontations really of importance, or is Barry homed in particularly? What do you feel?
I've got this thing again about, you know, I'm a big supporter of Overmars, a big fan of his from a long time. If they don't get him right, he knows how to use his position brilliantly well, and if they don't master him, that's where the problem's going to be.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Well, I think we've got the mics working down there. Manu Petit is down there on the pitch.
Emmanuel Petit, what do you think of this? An English FA Cup final for a Frenchman?
It's wonderful. I never seen that before. It's a great day to play football.
So much has happened to Arsenal since Christmas. What sort of frame of mood are the players in today?
Well, we're calm, and we know it's a big day today for us, but we enjoy it. So we will see.
A major disappointment not having Dennis Bergkamp today.
Yeah, sure. Dennis, well, he's injured, so, but he is with us today, so we need him.
It's very hot.
Yeah, it's very warm.
Difficult,
yeah.
The heat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to see him smile, Terry, because there's a bit of a history there. Manu Petit lost his brother Olivier 10 years ago, and he's really dedicated his playing now to that. So it's a sad story.
Was that a younger or an older brother? Or?
He was an elder brother, his eldest brother. So and he gave up initially.
It's understandable.
Good player, isn't he?
I think he's terrific. He certainly has grown, perhaps more than anyone else, along with Overmars during the year. Vieira's settled in very quickly, but those two started a little slower and grew very strong very quickly.
But talking about them, let's look at the other side as well, because you know you've got them playing really against Batty and Lee, Rob Lee, the captain. I mean, that's,
as I said earlier, Newcastle got outstanding individuals. They're as good as we've got in the country, Lee and Batty in the England squad. And Lee, I think, could be the danger to score a goal today. Because
Rob Lee, the East Ender.
That's right, yeah, he's a great lad. And I think that he's underrated to a great extent. And he will score goals, and we know what he's about.
Okay, well, we've got somebody down there with spectacles on. I hope he's not wearing them during the game, David Seaman.
I think your coach is complaining about your spectacles. Have you got a message for Bob Wilson?
Yeah, but don't worry, Bob, I won't be wearing them later on.
Okay, well, you've been here so many times. Andy and Wright is going to join us now. What's it like today for you after all the experiences you've had?
It's great. It's a great day, you know, and it's a proper cup final. You know, two great teams. But you know, I've said in the paper, in the press and things, you only enjoy it if you win, and that's what we want to do.
Ian Wright, we hear your substitute today.
Yeah, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's a fantastic day. And I was saying earlier, on such a great day, the sun always comes out on that cup final day. It's just a pity that someone has to lose, and you know, people will go on at some stage maybe unhappy, but I'm going to put a dampener on it. But it's just a great occasion. No matter what occasion you come here, England or whatever, you know, it's still cup final. It's still very, very, very special.
And of course, there is a double on today. I mean, that would be a wonderful achievement.
Yeah, we've done the first leg, and now we're just concentrating on winning today. You know, that if it happens, it'll happen. You know, it'd be a great achievement, but we just concentrate on winning today.
It has been an amazing season, hasn't it, with so many French players, a French manager. I mean, what about this guy Arsene Wenger then, Righty?
Well, he's come in and he's done a great job. He was under a lot of pressure, I think, because being the first foreign manager virtually over here, and you know, I think he's responded very well. I think at the start, he came under a lot of stick, you know, and you know, his methods. But now we've won the championship, you know, and you know, people are starting to take notice of what he's done. It's just fantastic. He's done fantastically well.
Big blow losing Dennis Bergkamp, obviously, today.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, obviously people wanted Dennis to play, but it's not to be. You know, and we've got to put that, you know, out of our minds now and concentrate on being positive and make sure we do the right things today.
You've done so many things here, David. Does this place still have fantastic magic every time?
Yeah, I've just been talking to Patrick there, and he says it's an absolutely fantastic stadium. You know, he said you can't beat this. You know, I said to him, well, wait while it's full, and then you'll know what it's really like.
Well, you got a win for this fella as well today.
Nice one, girl.
Yep, thank you.
Mum, I love you more than life, Mum.
Yeah, that was it. Dennis, first of all, everybody in football outside of Newcastle will be so sorry for you. I mean, what a disappointment.
It is, yeah. There's maybe only one positive side about it is that I didn't do it in the first minute today. I knew already that it wasn't right yesterday, so yeah, small positive thing.
What's been the reaction in the camp to your injury?
Well, most of all, the players were disappointed for me because they know it's a great day and they wanted me to be part of it, I think. But yeah, I just hope that everyone will enjoy it, and that's how it looks like. And I mean, with such an atmosphere, you just want to play well, and yeah, I hope the team does well.
You've won so much this season. I mean, besides the championship, you've also been double footballer of the year. How much did the FA Cup final actually mean to you?
Well, I would give all those prizes away just to play in this. I think that says it all.
Because it's huge in Holland, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but yeah, it's the building up to the game. It's the day itself. Yeah, it's great.
Dennis, sorry you're missing it. Thanks for talking to us.
You're doing well to hide his disappointment.
Yeah, he looks a good professional, and there's no doubt about that, and you can tell that by the way he plays. But he said it all there, give up all his prizes to play there today.
Yeah,
and that wraps it up.
Yeah, wraps you up as well, Terry.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for
Nice
being
to
with me
see
for this hour. Really
enjoyed
enjoyed
the
it.
game.
Okay, well now, after the break, I'm going to be joined by Ruud Gullit and Glenn Hoddle. No Dennis Bergkamp today, as we've seen, and we know the Footballer of the Year sadly out, but Arsenal do possess another potent force. Here's Ruud Gullit's view of the Flying Dutchman, Mark Overmars.
In the beginning, you know, he was just playing for the sake of it. And after a while, he understood more what was his role in the team. It takes some time also after first year. And I actually had to stay on the left wing, make a dribbling and a cross. That was his job. Now he can do much more. Has more freedom also in his way of playing, and I think he enjoys it. Something that he hasn't done for a long time.
When I've signed to Arsenal for 5 years, you think about hopefully we play an FA Cup final or we win the league. And when you look in your first year, then we won the league and we're playing the final. So it means quite a lot to me.
Of course, his pace is the most important part. But pace and control of the ball is also something very unique. It can be very, very, very fast if you can't control the ball. You know, but he can be very fast. I remember when I was with the Dutch team, sometimes we had 1-against-1 situations. I had to play against him. I couldn't cope with him. It was too fast for me. When I took 2 steps or 3 steps, he took already about 6 or 7, and you know I couldn't hold him. Mark scored 15 goals this season. That is very good for somebody who wasn't used to score goals, only to dribble and cross for the striker. So I'm quite happy how quickly he adapted himself, and then that is part of also of his character. He was very eager to show everyone that he still was a good player.
It's quite a lot of goals. When I had the same result next year, I will sign for that. But of course, it's the speed, and it's a distance of 40 yards. So to come from the midfield to help the strikers. And yeah, when you look at that position, I scored 8 of 9 goals. So I'm very pleased with that.
If you let him have the ball and running towards you, then you are gone. So you have to be short on him. Don't let him turn. And again, it depends also on who is providing the balls. If you are very short on midfield players and on the defenders, then it's a different game. If you let them play, but that is with every team. If you let them play, it's difficult.
Well, now the FA Cup final 1998 is just about an hour away from kick-off. Next weekend is also another big one for ITV Sport. The location is Monte Carlo. Well, that's next weekend. This is today, and we're just 1 hour exactly now to kick off here at Wembley. The flags of both clubs flying proudly. Those are the Newcastle ones. We saw the Arsenal ones just before it. The stadium, the great old stadium, is beginning to fill, and it's filling quickly. An incredible sight, as always. We've got a wonderful day. It's about 90 degrees out there today, and it's going to be a problem or two for the players involved. Well, next is Alan Shearer, Newcastle's potential match winner today. Kevin Keegan will be giving his verdict in a few moments. So hello again from a very humid Wembley Stadium, and it's a welcome back to Ruud Gullit, and it's a good afternoon to the man who signed him for Chelsea, England coach Glenn Hoddle. But first, we're actually going to pull rank on both of them, and we're going to hear from the Prime Minister. Tony Blair became a Newcastle United supporter as a child when his family moved to Durham, and the FA Cup final has always been one of his favourite occasions. I talked to him in the garden at number 10 earlier this week. Prime Minister, FA Cup final day, the occasion of the day, what has it meant to you?
Well, it's one of the great days in the sporting calendar, in the national calendar. But I think even if it's not your team playing or you're not going, you like to prepare and go and sit down in front of the television and watch it. And it's a tremendous day, the build-up, the excitement. It's not like any other game you ever see, really.
Which players do you think could actually win it for you at Wembley?
Well, I mean, I think that David Batty's been playing really, really well recently. I thought he was great in the England game against Portugal recently. But he played, you know, superbly in midfield, and I think that that's, you know, if we're really strong there, then that gives us the chance, obviously, for Shearer and the rest to score. And you know, it seems to me, at any rate, that Shearer's pretty much back to his best.
Who would be in your all-time Newcastle 11?
You're bound to leave people out. Probably Mick Mahoney in goal, I should think. Craig, Moncur, Albert, Kennedy. He's a very good player. David Batty, I think you'd have to have him in midfield. David Ginola, who, it's my only criticism of recent signings or sellings, that I think we should have probably kept him. Beardsley, Chris Waddle, of course. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Malcolm McDonald, I think, would have to go in there. And I suppose if we left out Alan Shearer, there might be a few.
I was waiting.
But you see, you don't, but I mean, there I never saw Jackie Milburn, you know, or Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah.
It would be obviously so, I don't know.
And if Newcastle actually won the cup final, it would round off a very, very special year for you, wouldn't it?
That would be great. I mean, my only concern is I'm not actually there, because I would love to be there, but unfortunately I'm chairing a summit of world leaders, but I shall be rushing out for
or a feed in the ear.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, that's right. Interpretation in one ear and the score in the other.
And the cheer.
Absolutely.
Prime Minister, thank you.
Thanks very much.
I think that the Prime Minister was very impressive with his team selection and knowledge, Glenn, wasn't it?
I tell you what, that's some team he's picked there, and I think he's got a coach. He's got a job after his politician days.
This is like old times for you two in a way, Ruud, isn't it?
Yeah, we were talking already out of the studio with each other. I already wished him luck for the World Cup, about his preparations and players fit or not.
Well, it's interesting, Glenn, in a way, isn't it? I mean, Ruud mentions the World Cup. This final is interesting for you because you've got so many of your squad players who are here today.
Yeah, it's great to see him perform in the cup final, and obviously I'll have one eye on how they play. But
you're talking obviously about people like Batty and Shearer, naturally,
Martin Keown, Adams, you know, the likes. If Wrighty's going to perform some part of the game, that's my professional eye. But then I've got my fingers crossed that nothing happens, that they get injured as well, which is always a problem.
Same thing what Hiddink said about Bergkamp. Said if you play only 20 minutes and then go out, just score a goal and go out.
The great thing about this, finally, it's got all the makings of a great one, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think one team has had grown during the season very well, played very well at the end of the season, Arsenal. And of course Newcastle has a lot to make up.
Yeah.
And so they are going for it, I think so.
Yeah, you agree with that?
Arsenal have been the best side right through the season, but that all goes out the window when we get to a cup final. In playing in them, it's such a great occasion for the supporters, and they'll be up for it, Newcastle, and I think it's a level game.
Okay, thanks again for the moment. Well, right now the bookmakers have Arsenal as hot favourites today, but Alan Shearer, as we mentioned, is the Newcastle weapon that could upset the odds. He's the player every manager would like in his team. Kevin Keegan spent £15 million to bring his goals to Newcastle.
People get quite a shock when they see him. You know, they expect someone about 6'1", you know, built like the proverbial, and he's not. He's a fine-looking athlete. His physical upper body strength is frightening, but it comes from the mental toughness. You know, you cannot just build that up and say, right, go on a field and use that physical strength you've got. You have to have that mental toughness, that willingness and wanting to be there first, in front of defenders, standing up to them and giving as good as you get.
I always like a physical challenge, and the physical side of my game is something that I would never take away, because it is part of my game. I've never professed to be a saint. I mean, I don't know where this image has come from. I like to do things right. I like to prepare right, but most of all I like to win, and if that means me pushing someone or kicking someone or whatever, that's part and parcel of football, and you're going to get that, and people have been doing that for me for the last 10 years since I come into football, so I give as good as I get.
He's very uncomplicated. He's wonderful to work with. He's not a fanny, what we call a fanny in the game. You talk to him, he listens and he tries to do it, but he ain't trying to do it for you. He's trying to do it to make himself a better player because he believes in it. And if you say something to him that he doesn't agree with, he'll tell you that as well. So, you know, I just regret, one of my main regrets about Newcastle, I've got many, I suppose, is not having more time to work with Alan Shearer. He'd only been at the club, you know, 8 months when I went, and that 8 months I really enjoyed. As a goal scorer, he's the best. He's a lethal finisher, he's got power, he takes the ball early, he strikes it beautifully. He very rarely makes a bad contact with the ball, but power is the thing that beats most keepers. When you see him in slow motion a lot of the time, a lot of his goals, you think, well, how the hell did that beat the lad? Because he's a good keeper. And then suddenly, when they put it back full speed without the benefit of slow-mo, no way the keeper can react that quickly.
I always believe if you hit the target, then it's got more chance of going in, and if you try to place it, people have got different opinions, and my opinion is most of the time I'll go for power rather than accuracy. It hasn't done me too bad in my career so far. I hope it continues.
Everyone will know him, everyone will respect him, and everyone will remember him. But there's a lot more football to be played for Alan Shearer yet, and it'll start at the cup final hopefully, and it'll go right through till the end of the World Cup and beyond that for Newcastle. Alan Shearer is the main reason, and probably the only reason, that you can sort of say, well, Newcastle could win this. I mean, he's at Wembley in a cup final for the first time. He'll want to have a say in what's happening out there. He's the one. With him in your side, you've got a chance now. They're not a one-man team, and Alan is not a one-man band. He's a real team player. But that's why I think Newcastle will win the cup.
Well, one thing we're all agreed on is that he can be a match winner, this guy, but I'm just hearing some news right now that his partner up front will not be Anderson, but it will be Kit Spire. Now, what's your reaction to that, Glenn?
I think that's positive. I really feel that Kit Spire has been...
As an attacker,
well, I think he'll just play off Alan. He'll float and play in midfield and come deep and try and cause problems in between Arsenal's midfield and their back four. And Alan will look to get on beyond and make movement off the shoulder. But I think they'll go with three at the back as well, looking at the situation as we feel.
Yeah. What do you feel about that?
Same. I think that they're looking also a little bit for height, because you know, Arsenal in the back has some strength. So I think they were not keen to put Thomason or Anderson there because of his, you know, physique, and maybe he is the one who is searching around it and running around. So maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, the other one was that Warren Barton is in the side, and we weren't expecting that.
Well, I think what they might do is they'll put Barton in there, I think, possibly to have a little to see if Overmars can be stopped. And they've got the option of keeping it nice and solid down the outside if they go with the three at the back. And I think in midfield, Speed and Lee can then get themselves into the penalty area. And David Batty is perfect just to give them that balance and sit and let them get in the box and link up with Alan.
The news, Rudy, that is on Arsenal is that, as we thought, Ian Wright, who you know so well, is not in the side, but he's on the bench. It's Christopher Ray who will take Dennis Bergkamp's place.
I think I can understand. I think that there's been a long injury. He didn't play so many games, and this game is too vital. You must be fresh, because everybody will play on the edge, you know, and so you need players who are mentally but also physically okay.
I just think
no Ian Wright. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I don't think it's not that much to do with his injury or his shape physically. I just don't think Arsenal would want to play Anelka and Wright together. I think the way Bergkamp plays his role, either of them wouldn't suit that. And I think Wren will balance off better with Anelka. And you know, we'll see if Wrighty gets on from the bench.
Yeah. Okay, well, we can see confirmation of those teams here, gentlemen. There they are. Arsenal without David, obviously without Dennis Bergkamp, and then the two surprises that we have found, Barton in there, Warren Barton in, and then the Georgian Kit Spire in alongside Alan Shearer. Well, let me just tell you that we do have more live football on ITV this Wednesday, the Champions League final. What a final it is. It's another big event also just around the corner. Well, the World Cup is just a few weeks away. That Champions League final we're also looking forward to in Amsterdam, but this is Wembley, and my word, it's filling up very, very quickly now. 80,000 now, of course, the capacity. It used to be 100,000 in the old days, but it's beginning to look and sound like Cup final day. Coming next, Ian Wright on the Arsenal team and the Newcastle lineup. That'll be given by John Barnes. Welcome back to Wembley, where we're less than 45 minutes away from kick-off, and where the first players have actually now emerged onto the field. There's Shay Given, the goalkeeper, young Irishman who's never played here before, and he's just doing his warm-up with Shaka Hislop, who's the substitute keeper, and there's Shaka, and they're just out on the pitch. The others are following. But let's go through the teams in detail now, beginning with Arsenal and the life and soul of their dressing room, Ian Wright.
Why David Seaman? There's only one, and he's number one, apt as well, because I personally think he's the best goalkeeper in the country, bar none. I know he'd rather be fishing, but you know, I know that it will mean everything to him today if we can win the cup, and I'm sure that it's going to take a monumental effort to actually beat this man today. Number one, David Seaman. Another person who would be rather be doing something else today, playing golf. But unfortunately, he's got to play in the FA Cup final. I'm sure this is a burden to him, but I think he might be able to get over it. Top man. Nigel Winterburn, he's a fantastic player. And this season, I know all the plaudits will go to front men and midfield players, but I don't think Nigel is far away from being the Player of the Year. Unbelievable this season. And 34. Am I doing all right? Eh? How am I doing? How am I doing? Martin. Even when he's playing well, he's asking himself how well is he doing. It's always saying that people seem to forget him out of the famous back five. But, you know, we don't forget him here. Martin, he's done very well this year. Keon, there's only one. Keon. Tony Adams, what can I say about the skipper? It's changed a little bit from when I first came here. Now he's into poetry and piano. I think I will never ever, you know, play under a more dominant person and a great captain as Tony Adams. I'm very privileged to be in the same team as Tony, and I love him, and I love the change he's gone through, and it suits him. And so is the poetry, and so is the piano, Tony. That's your bag, baby. You do it, man. Ray Parlour. Who are Ray Parlour? Come from Romford, mate. Ray Parlour has done a fantastic job for Arsenal this year. Another player who is not far away from Player of the Year. And anything that he gets, he deserves it, because he's absolutely a complete changed man, and it's done him the world of good. Ray Parlour, top man. Patrick Vieira. When he first came from AC Milan's reserves, everyone said, who is he? Well, I'm sure that everybody knows him now. And I personally think that this year he's gone on to prove that he's been the best midfielder in this country this season. And I've got a couple of mates, Jamie and Paul, who might not agree with that, but I think the credit is due here. Manny Petit. Some of the midfield players, opposing ones, thought that they could come because he's got all his lovely long hair and he flicks it back like he does. And they thought they could take liberties with him and bash him about a bit, but I think he learnt very quickly, and now, along with Patrick, proved to be one of the top midfield players this season. Well done, Manny. You are the top man. You have lovely hair. Mark Overmars, so small. So small, but so quick. Unbelievable. He's returned this season in goals. Another one who got a lot of stick from the press, along with Dennis when he first came, about waste of money and that. I think he rammed those words firmly down the pressman's throat, and now he's beginning to look like a world-class player that he is, that we bought. Super Dick. Got a lot of stick early on, and he was only 18 when he first came into the team when I got injured, and when he made a couple of substitute appearances and people were saying, who is he, he's not doing this. But now people know about him, and now I'm glad that Nicholas is starting to show the ability that we've seen since he first came here. He's got unbelievable pace. I think he'll frighten anyone in the world, and now he's got the confidence to go with it. I think this guy's going to be unstoppable. Nicholas Anelka. Christopher Ray. Another one who the jury was out on early on in the season, because obviously nobody knew who he was. But he came in and he scored some vital goals for us. And for his goal in the semi-final, we're all going to have a wonderful day, hopefully, on Saturday. Another one who's had to wait his chance. He hasn't complained, he's just got on with it, showing great professionalism. How did I get all that out? But anyway, Christopher Ray.
Well, didn't Ian Wright do that brilliantly? There's only one Ian Wright there, but there is the confirmed Arsenal team. Glenn, it will be 4-4-2, that's what he favours, isn't it?
Yeah, there'll be nothing that will change just because it's a cup final. What we'll see is Ren dropping in there a little bit and Anelka playing off the shoulder. But you know, Vieira and Petit, I think, are important for Arsenal today. That if they really play well, and that'd be a nice battle against David Batty in there. And if they assert themselves, I think then they might give the
is that the right word,
chances.
battle?
It will be a battle and all, yeah.
He likes to be combative, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I think that's, you know, playing for a cup final medal, a winner's cup final medal. Them players are going to be at it full throttle, and you know, obviously, I don't want to see David Batty get injured, but obviously he'll be given everything on a game like this.
Yes, Rude, here the Arsenal players are beginning to come out. There's Patrick Vieira that Glenn mentioned. Do you see Arsenal having a cautious approach or a confident attacking approach today?
I don't know. You don't know if you want to begin already from the start. I think that what he said, Vieira Petit will have the holding role, that breaking everything up, what's coming through. I think that Overmars is the one who has to give them the depth, and so he will be vital in attacking part. And and maybe if he plays a little bit forward, then Newcastle almost plays with a flat back five.
His pace is the frightening thing.
That's why.
Yeah.
And so I think that he will be very important attacking-wise.
Yeah. And what else?
I think that's why Barton's been put in the side. I think you'll find
because of Overmars.
Yeah, I think he'll try and do a job on him, and then down the other side, Bastoni might push on and cause Parler a little bit of problem, because Parler plays tucked in. Overmars is given that licence to go wide, but Overmars is a player that relies, you know, on service. At the end of the day.
Ray Parley, he's impressed you, Glenn, without just getting quite close enough.
He was very close, Bob, to getting in the 30. And you know, when I spoke to him, I said to him, it's all ahead of him, and if he keeps that attitude and keeps that performance consistently, he's one for the future, and he's going to be hitting his prime in the next few years. So there's a lot ahead for him if he can, you know, reproduce that sort of season.
Okay, well, I think now we should move on, and we'll move on to Newcastle. The man with all the information here is John Barnes.
Dress sense, he's very flamboyant. Typical Italian, fairly laid back, you know, a lot of gestures, hand gestures, but I think that he was one of the reasons why Inter Milan sold Roberto Carlos, because they knew he would come in and take Roberto Carlos's place. Surprising that they actually sold him to Newcastle, though they got a very good offer and they paid a lot of money for him. But, you know, he was the captain of the Italy on the 21 team. All the things you'd expect from an Italian, very good defender. And also he's only 22 years old, so he's got a big future ahead of him also. As long as he can sort his dress sense out, I'm sure that, you know, he'll be okay. Number 2, Warren Barton. He's probably the fittest player at the club. Runs around a lot. He causes a lot of problems for the opposition because he ends up in a lot of unusual positions. Sometimes he ends up in centre forward. He's scored a few goals and he's very fit, very enthusiastic. He's a sartorial elegance, Warren. He loves his clothes. His wife's just having a baby, so we're all taking the mickey out of him at the moment because he keeps coming in immaculately dressed, and we're sure that'll change once, you know, the baby comes and he's going to have baby sick down him, but he's looking forward to it. David Batty, number 4, probably the most competitive player in the league, which shows from the amount of times he's been booked and sent off. But, you know, I think that a lot of that is really because of who he is. You know, because David is a very fair player, very tough, very hard, uncompromising, but he doesn't mean to hurt anyone deliberately. And I think a lot of the bookings and sending offs have been very harsh. He would be one of the first names on the team sheet, on any team sheet. England's also, I may add. So he's one player we really... A winger into a central midfield player who's a very strong, hard-tackling, hard-working, goal-scoring midfield player, although he hasn't scored as many goals this year as he did last year, but really because of the way the team's been playing. But Rob will score goals from midfield, and another one who I think is a certainty for France with England, and he's also suffered now and again with injury, and when he hasn't played, we've missed him. Gary Speed, number 11. Very good on the far post, excellent in the air, very fit, very strong, and I think that next season, really because of the last 4 or 5 games he's had here, next season he'll have the confidence to go on, and I expect him really to be hitting double figures next season, and to be, you know, one of the main players in the Premier League, not just in you know, not just in Newcastle's team. Very hard worker, willing to listen, willing to learn. I've got a lot of time for Gary, and you know, I'm sure that everything will come right for him next season. Timuri Ketspire, the Georgian assassin. Well, he's temperamental, Timuri, but he wants to play and he wants to win. But a real professional, you know, looks after himself well. If we're on the bench together, he always wants to warm up. I mean, at my age, I just want to sit out on the bench and maybe get on for the last 15 minutes if I'm not playing. But Timuri is very eager to get on. He warms up for 15 minutes, and he warms up even harder than the players who are actually out there on the pitch. So, you know, he has a will to win and a willingness to play, and he wants to play, which is a good thing. So, you know, Timuri is, as I said before, you know, but in terms of goal-scoring ability, he's way beyond Ronaldo in terms of creating chances. If Alan played for Brazil, he would just score so many goals because of the way they play. In terms of being clinical, putting the ball in the back of the net, being in the right place at the right time, either foot, good in the air, brave, not afraid to score, scores goals, off the knee, off the backside. Alan's the man, and he's got a single-minded attitude in terms of wanting to be a winner.
So there we are, well done John Barnes, beautifully done there. A 5-3-2 formation, I guess, Glenn, won't it? It'll be fine.
I'm hoping it's going to be that, Bob, because I just really feel that system with Ketspire in will suit Newcastle and allow Robert Lee and Speed to get into the box. The one criticism I've seen Newcastle this year is that Alan Shearer was isolated too much, and perhaps with Ketspire and that system, it allowed the midfield to break and join him.
Yeah, Shearer's out there at this moment. It was interesting to hear John Barnes talking both about Shearer, obviously, and I mean, whatever anybody says, Ruud, he is a very important guy.
I think he's very unique. I think we were talking about him already before, and he said, you know, he's a striker who can score goals from any position, but the main thing is that he's also working very hard for your team. So he comes back, sliding tackles, defending, and also work also up front. So he's pressing the opposition, make it hard for them. Very clever, and can also be very mean also. And that is all the ingredients that you need for a complete striker.
Do you think he's fully recovered injury-wise, Glenn?
I think he has now. I think the game against Portugal here, the England game, I think proved that, Bob, and he is the most complete striker I've seen. Well, certainly I've worked with. Yeah. He's got everything, and as long as we keep him nice and injury-free.
Another of your men, so interesting to hear John Barnes talk about him. He said, this is the most competitive player in the league, quote.
He's a winner. There's no two doubts about that, Bob. But the other thing with David Batty, that we all know that he can win the ball off the opposition. but this year, and working with him, with England for 18 months, he is an excellent passer of the ball, in the sense that he'll keep you the ball, simple passes, he's always in possession, he's always available. But this year he's added some killer balls, he's hit real killer balls on the back of
that
defenders.
was the accusation, wasn't it, that he couldn't deliver those?
We've spoke to him a lot about playing forward, looking forward first. The first look forward, the second square, and then your third choice going back. And it's improved him as a player, but he's hit some balls that I saw at Old Trafford, I've seen it at the England games, he's now hitting balls on the back of defenders, which is an added thing to his game.
Yeah, Pistone is quite important to Newcastle, Ruud.
I hope so. And this season he played so-so. I think I don't know if it's the player that they expected when he came from Italy. And of course, it's, you need some time to adapt yourself. And what we said also about Betty, in the beginning he played only on the width of the pitch. I think the first idea and the first choice has to be to play forward.
Yes.
And in the beginning also Betty was a player that plays more in the width of the pitch instead of going forward. And of course he has all the characters to do that.
The suggestion coming through, Ruud, is that Pistone is going to double up with Warren Barton here, to look after Overmars.
We shall see. It's all possible. We have to see how the real shape is on the pitch. But of course, the Overmars will be, for them, a threat.
Yeah. Rob Lee, Glenn. Can you tell me about Rob Lee? He's the skipper. That's not Rob Lee, that's Gary Speed there at the moment. But tell me about Rob Lee anyway.
Well, Robert is a super player that will give you everything. He'll give you a little bit of everything. He's a hard worker. He can get in the box and score goals in the box arriving. He can score. He's got a powerful shot from the edge of the box as well. You can play him wide. You can play him as a wing back. He's got he's got a varied positional sense. He can play and he understands the position. So he's very good at all the aspects, but he doesn't really excel in one. But he'll be a shame if he doesn't play with three at the back today.
How much will they miss Keith Gillespie's non-delivery of no Keith Gillespie, who delivered there is the lineup as we now know it to be.
Yeah, he is vital. I think that if you play a 4-4-2, you need two wide players who stay also wide. And he's one player who dribbles a lot, good crosses, and you will miss that. And if somebody else can deliver that, that is difficult. And Overmars, like I said, Overmars with his pace is also a player, normally with Ajax Amsterdam, who played on the outside delivering crosses. Now he has more freedom. With Arsenal, he also can score goals, but before that, he was not allowed to do it.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's all getting very exciting here. Now then, after the break, some of the great Wembley moments that make Cup final day so special. Abide with me, the emergence of the teams and the royal presentation. That's all coming up in the next part.
Never seen you play.
Welcome back. Just 20 minutes to kick off here, and these two are arguing away, deciding who's going to win this game. They've got 1 minute to tell us who's going to win. I think you are actually edging towards Newcastle.
No, I say just they have more reasons, I think, to win this game. But it doesn't mean that they're going to win it. Of course, Arsenal has a lot of class, good players, but I think Newcastle have more for themselves to give them.
Okay, Glenn.
I think Arsenal are going to win it, Bob. I think they've had a good season. I think if Newcastle had come with a little bit more adventure, maybe playing three at the back, it looks as if they're going to go with a solid back four and play very tight and look to hit on the break. I think it might go to extra time, though. I think we might have extra time. I'm going to go for Arsenal.
Extra time, Red?
I hope not, because it's very hot in here.
That'll do. Gentlemen, thanks very much. We'll talk again at half-time, but it's time now to join our commentary team for the 1998 FA Cup final. Ron Atkinson and Brian Moore. Brian, who's decided to retire following the World Cup final, and honoured this week by receiving the Royal Television Society Judges Award in recognition of his contribution to broadcasting, and how delighted all of us were at that so deserved award. So, 30 years at the top, but I'm sure he's still relishing this occasion today. Brian.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, it was a great night, and this is a great day as well. I don't think they're sure who's going to win it. Are you?
No, I'm not actually. I can understand the hesitation. Funny, I have to say, logically, you can't see past Arsenal. Certainly, if Bergkamp was playing, you'd go for Arsenal. But since they beat Stevenage, you know, I've had a hunch about Newcastle, whether it's their year.
Yeah, I firmly believe the pendulum has started to swing a little bit their way. They seem to be coming through the nightmare of the season they've had, and the impression I get is that they are looking now much more relaxed. I saw them at Blackburn last week. They got beaten, but they were passing the ball around with a great deal of confidence, and there's certainly no shortage of experience in that side. It might just be that the pendulum is swinging that way, and we've seen so often at Wembley, and this is a truly wonderful occasion with true Wembley weather to go with it, that you can never tell in a cup final. And as we know, fanatical support from both these great clubs. We're so fortunate, really, on ITV to come back to a cup final like this, one that divides the nation. Great clubs with charismatic players on both sides, and the most wonderful fans to go with it as well. If we wait in a moment, the Wembley hymn, Abide With Me, which is always one of the great emotional moments of any cup final. They played it here since 1927. When incidentally Arsenal were again in the cup final then, and again they were the favourites, but they lost to Cardiff City that day. The singing will be led by Tony Hadley, the lead singer with Spandau Ballet, and Bill Penright, and the wife of David Dean, the Arsenal vice chairman.
Very relieved, Bill Kenwright, by the look of him as well.
I would have thought the Evertonians, yes. And also we'll have in the Royal Box today not only the Archbishop of Canterbury, George Carey, but the Archbishop of Westminster, Basil Hume. Archbishop Carey, who's an Arsenal fan, and as Archbishop Hume was telling us, there's the Archbishop of Canterbury, he's rooting for Arsenal today. And well, there's Tony Banks. Tony Blair is not here today. He's a great Newcastle fan, but of course the G8 summit gets in the way of that. I'm sure Geordie fans everywhere will say he maybe hasn't quite got his priorities right. But they've come down, they've somehow got tickets. I met a lad in Newcastle on Tuesday of this week who said he'd been a season ticket holder for 22 years. He was in tears. He couldn't get a ticket for this one. Absolute gold dust. And Cardinal Hume, a rabid Newcastle United fan, telling us earlier he's been so since 1932. Well, certainly it will all add a special significance to the singing of that wonderful hymn, Abide With Me, in a moment or two, with the bands of the Coldstream and Scots Guards. Actually, that's been played every year, I was saying, in peacetime since 1927, except for 1 year in 1959, when, on the whim of some trendy committee, they decided to drop it, and such was the public outcry that it came back again next year, and has been here ever since, Abide With Me, and long may it remain so. Too many of football's traditions have gone to the wall. Well, here comes Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet. Had a great rehearsal here this morning. And he will tell you this, whatever he's done in his musical life, this is a moment to match them all. Abide With Me. 60,000 crowd here. And the teams are now in the tunnel. Handshake from the two captains, Rob Lee of Newcastle and Tony Adams, who's been captain at Arsenal since he was a 21-year-old and won just all about everything you could imagine since then. Newcastle, so long since they've been here. 24 years ago they were last in a final. They were beaten in 1974, humiliated really by Liverpool that day. And you have to go back 43 years when they last won it. Two very wily managers there, Arsene Wenger and Kenny Dalglish, and moments in the tunnel there. They're just waiting really for an FA official to say, come on we get with it, and they just want to get on with 3 o'clock now. Arsenal the favourites. The favourites don't always have a happy time here. And Newcastle, well, their squad of 19 included 17 full internationals, so they are some underdogs. See them now for the first time. Arsene Wenger, who's had a wonderful season in charge of Arsenal. Kenny Dalglish, who's won this twice already as a Liverpool manager, won the championships with Liverpool, won the championships with Blackburn, and has wily Kenny Dalglish got the ultimate trick up his sleeve for this game this afternoon. Crowd here who paid anything between £60 for the top seats, £12 for the cheapest ones. At the moment this will be money well spent. Some will go unhappy, but all will have memories to cling to for the rest of their lives, maybe. For some reason the march onto the pitch has come to a halt. And rather a ragged entry there at the moment. The guest of honours here today, the Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Kent. The Duke of Kent is the President of the Football Association. John Barnes, one of the substitutes of Newcastle United. It's his 5th FA Cup final. Arsenal the favourites, already the champions, looking as they did in 1971 for the double. Newcastle determined to put a season of upheaval behind them, and no better chance than this. And the disappointed figure of Dennis Bergkamp, a hamstring that he injured against Derby County a couple of weeks back, just needed that little more time to be repaired. And here comes the royal party with Keith Wiseman, the chairman of the Football Association, and officials too of the Littlewoods organisation. As first we get the national anthem. First, the presentation at the Newcastle players. The skipper Rob Lee doing the introductions. Gary Speed, Alan Shearer. Newcastle fans, I'm sure, saying all the time, there's Shearer, we've got a great chance. Stuart Pearce, who was here in '91 with Nottingham Forest, you don't get a greater pro or a better competitor than he. Warren Barton, I can see there. Substitute Philip Albert. And Andreas Andersson, the blonde-haired lad from Sweden. Shaka Hislop, the reserve goalkeeper there too, and Kenny Dalglish. This won't be new to him. He will have worked something out. A wilier manager is hard to find. The Duke's already halfway down the Arsenal line. With Tony Adams. Arsenal here in 1993, and they were winners. Both these great clubs have 6 FA Cup final wins behind them. This is Arsenal's 13th appearance in the final. Will it be unlucky for some? Newcastle's 12th appearance. Mark Overmars, many feel that he'll be the man, and the man there now. Vieira, who might in fact make all the difference. What a great servant Steve Bold has been, and what a good reserve goalkeeper Manninger turned out to be when Seaman was injured early on. And there is quite a man to have on the substitutes bench as well, Ian Wright. Oh, what an afternoon of possibilities we got, and what a proud moment for the mascot there with Tony Adams, Paul Durkin, with the 2 officials, Bill Jordan of the Hearts, FA, and Philip Joslin of Nottinghamshire. Paul Durkin, who goes to the World Cup, of course, as England's representative there as well. What a few weeks it is for him. Graham Barber, the other official, the reserve official. Right, there's the presentation's over. We just take a short break now, and then we'll be back for the kickoff. Welcome back to Wembley Stadium, this FA Cup final. Arsenal against Newcastle United. Well, here's the Arsenal side without Dennis Bergkamp, of course, but Christopher Wray, who replaces him, certainly something of an Arsenal talisman. 4 goals this season. 3 of them have been winners, including the one that beat Wolves in the semi-final. Ian Wright on the subs bench, but Mark Overmars is here, the midfield of Mano Petit, Patrick Vieira and Ray Parlour, and behind them that defence that really is second to none. Newcastle had hoped that Keith Gillespie would be fit to cause trouble down the wing, but he's not, and that's a blow. Kenny Dalglish has shaken up the defence a little. Steve Howie comes back. Philip Albert is a sub. It looks as though they'll play 4-4-2. And up front, Timur Kitsbaya of Georgia partners Alan Shearer. Great experience there. And always the Newcastle fans say, when we've got Shearer, we've got a chance. And I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people have been saying. Paul Durkin, the referee, he was telling me in the week, in fact, that the one worry he's got is that if the weather is as it is today, how people are going to keep going. And he'll be very sympathetic indeed to players who want to take some water refreshment by the touchline. I think he's got to be. So here we are, Manninger, Bold, Platt, Wright and Grimondi for Arsenal. Hislop, Barnes, Watson, Albert and Anderson for Newcastle. So what about this man, Ron? Shearer?
Well, he's the one that putting all the hopes on, isn't he? Pinning all the hopes. They've got good midfield players. They've got a strong looking side, Newcastle, but he's the one that their hopes are on.
So the cup final is underway. Newcastle in those famous stripes, and a touch straight away for the boy from Donegal, Shay Gibbon. Arsenal on an afternoon of brilliant sunshine. We're there looking for the double, just as they did in similar conditions, incidentally, in 1971. Stuart Pearce playing it forward to Ketspire. Speed is coming in there, and Speed can be a danger. He does make those drifting runs in from the left, gets good positions. His finishing hasn't always been of the best, but who knows, today might be the day. Good jump there from Davizas.
Brian, I actually think that's the key area in midfield.
Yes. Keown getting it back. And interesting with Ketspire up front, because he'll run at people as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, in the early start of the game, he's pushed more or less right up against the back foot. I think as the game happens, he'll drop off a little bit to get the ball to feet and go at Keown or go at Adams.
Right, here's the throw. Pearce with it. Here's Ketspire. And now it's an Arsenal throw. Arsenal won both their battles in the Premiership this season. 1-0 up at St James's Park. 3-1 much more recently at Highbury. If memory serves me, Anelka scored a couple of brilliant goals that day. And there is a tremendous amount of pace in this Arsenal attack when they get them going. And here's the first touch for Overmars. Pistoni, as we thought, might be the one to challenge him on this side of the field. They switch their fullbacks, and Pistoni gets in at the expense of a corner there. So that was the work of Overmars, who rifled down that touchline.
I think Kenny Dalglish would be a bit upset Warren Barton wasn't in a better covering position as well. I mean, I would think Barton's played there as a front screen.
Overmars with the corner. Newcastle get it away. Overmars again. And if they think he's quick, look at Anelka. Good knock away that time by Davidas. Vieira towards Parlour on the other side there. Shearer getting in. Dunk to the ground. A foul on Shearer. A free kick. Parlour was the man who committed it. Batty came off Vieira.
I mean, if you look at that trio of Newcastle's in there, Batty, Lee and Speed, I mean, they're good enough to play in anybody's midfield, aren't they? And yet they're facing, for me, what has been the strength of Arsenal, Vieira and Pepe.
It's a Newcastle free kick. Stuart Pearce with it. Glancing it in towards Petit. Touched in again by Batty. This time Adams, the great leader at the back for Arsenal, finding Overmars. Overmars challenged by Rob Lee. And by Warren Barton. Gets it back to Pistoni, and just out of play. It'll be a throw to Arsenal.
Yeah, we saw in that early run of Overmars, you know, Pistoni for me is a very left-footed player, and I just wonder whether if Overmars runs on the outside of him, whether Pistoni's going to be able to deal comfortably with that when he's 1v1.
Ray. Davidas. Like the look of him. Batty. Steve Harry. He's only played twice in the last 10 games. He's had a few troubles with injury, Harry. I guess it's not a gamble. Kenny Dalglish knows what he's doing, but Philip Albert's a good, strong man in that position. He's on the substitute bench today. Well, Kenny waspishly this week saying we are, after all, the form team. We've won one and lost one of our last two games. Arsenal have lost both of theirs.
It's an interesting point, that, you know, because, I mean, they won the championship on momentum, didn't they? You know, yes. the came, and they've just tailed off a little bit, understandably, but you wonder whether they take the form off with them as well. I tell you what, when the play's over there, Brian, by the way, Pistoni's virtually gone in as a double cover to sort of guard against Anelka's pace. I mean, yes. It's important that Barton disciplines himself and gets somewhere around Overmars.
Here's Gary Speed, nice little touch. Batty playing it into Ketspire. Ketspire turning it now for Lee. Lee to Pistoni. They'll grow confidence now with this simple sort of passing movement, man to man, doing it well, but then give it away to Arsenal. It's with Overmars again. Davitas trying to stop him. Pistoni's getting in there, and eventually between them they do stop him and get it back to Shea Given. But there's absolutely no doubt about it that Newcastle see Overmars as the man who can ruin their afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, Pistone has got good pace. I've never always thought he's the best tackler or best defender in the world in 1v1 situations.
And foul on him. Free kick for Arsenal. Petit. Ray is there. Dixon has come up on the far side. And in fact, it was Winterburn who spotted his fellow fullback there, but didn't quite get his pass accurately enough. Here's Batty. Ketzbauer. And Rob Lee caught offside.
That's where Rob Lee's at his best, you know. I mean, I think there's been times this year when Rob Lee's played a very sort of safe sitting position. I always thought when they were really flying Newcastle, Lee was making an awful lot of breaks from midfield. I think that's encouraging if he's prepared to run off the back of Petty.
Keown hit long, dealt with quite comfortably by Howie. Stuart Pearce. Good play by Vieira. Winterburn, what a season he's had. That's not the best pass of the season, though. Oh, Pearce with a cut eye. Mind you, anybody who knows Stuart Pearce will know that that is the last thing that will
He's
stop
probably
him.
done that shaving this morning.
I think, I mean, naturally he was very disappointed at being left out of Glenn's 30 for the World Cup, but he didn't show it. He's taken it very well. But equally, you can be sure on the back of that, there'll be no more determined man on the field today rather than Stuart Pearce. Hit long again. Carla's going away. This is a good break. Anelka's waiting in the middle. And in the end, Howie had to get across there at the expense of a corner. Great ball, though, and a great run by Parler.
Very, very ominous at the beginning. You know how much more pace they appear to have in attacking positions, Arsenal, and maybe the counterparts defensively for Newcastle.
Keown forwards. Vieira, 6-footer forward. And, in fact, Derek Wright coming on to have a look at Stuart Pearce's eye.
I'm surprised in the early period just how much infield Warren Barton's got when he plays on the other side. I would have thought he'd been detailed to say, hey, you stay around the Overmars. When they've got it, when Arsenal have it at the back, get in front of him so they can't play into feet and allow Pistone to have a little bit of a head start on him. If he gets drawn in field, they'll pop the ball off to Overmars all day.
Still getting some treatment. The referee's not entirely happy. Swinging one and tipped away well by Shea Given.
I think he's given the foul, Brian. Adams riding on the back of somebody there, but that's a typical Arsenal corner. They all have a little flurry, and Adams spins right round the back. You know, and they'll have done the homework. They'll know about that, but it's still a little bit disturbing the fact he got in there.
Given with the free kick for Newcastle. Up goes Keown. And here come Arsenal again. Parler. Supported there by Ray. The flag was up against Anelka. Davikas. Oh, a bit too casual there.
Good pressing though, isn't it, from Ray?
Yeah.
He bites him, take another touch, go on, one more touch, and presses. And that's a trademark of the opposite.
He's a good player, this man. Greek international. He's only had a couple of months at Newcastle, but he's neat. He tackles well. He's good in the air. He doesn't look about. He doesn't look about.
Talking to most of the Geordies outside, they would say he's been probably their best player over a period.
Up goes Speed. Wins it in the air, but here's Petit and Vieira. This is the real engine room of the Arsenal midfield. Petit and Patrick Vieira. Pearce banging it forward. Shearer's up there waiting, but who's there too? Tony Adams. That'll be a terrific battle.
I think it's important Shearer gets a better service than that, though. I mean, his game is as willing as anything. He's got a problem with that.
Now his back pass for a moment embarrassing given. Speed again, winning it in the air. Here's Ketzbauer. Here's Ketzbauer again. He might get into a shooting position here.
It surprises you. He never seems to be a regular favourite, does he, Ketzbauer? He never really seems to make the starting lineup. But he is a loose cannon, and I can understand why Kenny Dalglish has picked him. He's unpredictable. He can create something out of nothing.
Yeah, Newcastle fans will tell you when he does come on as a sub, he seems to change things around so much.
He certainly altered the shape of St James's Park one day when he kicked hell out of it, didn't he?
Back to Seaman. Winterburn. Adams. The run was made by Parler, but Pistone wasn't a good ball.
Yeah, Newcastle leaving, they're trying to defend high up the pitch. And Arsenal have got some very, very good runners. He's made a good break here, Batty.
But made a bad pass.
Just saying, Brian, Arsenal have got some players that will draw people towards the ball and then spin into the space behind them. And for all the sort of close passing game Arsenal have, they're still not, they're still prepared to throw it in line. Turn the defence that way.
Vieira. Trying to float that ball beyond Pistone for the pace of Overmars.
You see, that's the exact situation. I'm sure Dalglish should be doing his head in there. As soon as that ball went down to Pistone, I'd like to see Barton racing and trying to double back on Pistone. You cannot leave your fullback 1v1 against a fellow like him.
There's Barton now. They're trying to get things moving, but it was a poor pass by Gary Speed. And Parler, but here's Ketzbauer. Oh, but Parler's taken it on again. Ray's waiting in the middle. Anelka's gone outside him. Charged down by Howie. The flag was up.
A good block there from Howie on Parler, but Parler couldn't quite get his feet sorted out because he got Anelka on a great overlap run alongside him. If he can just get it tidy for him here, just checks under his feet, and it just gives Howie enough chance to block it offside. I'll tell you what, if it had been just ahead of him, he could have just nudged Anelka into a very dangerous position. Arsenal look promising, actually. I thought Newcastle might have started the better of the two teams, but at the moment Arsenal look full of confidence, which you would expect, and they look very assured.
Kieran with a good header. Touched on by Ray, but Anelka couldn't pick it up. Pearce. Curling it in again. Towards Shearer. Tries to get Ketzbauer away. He's fractionally offside.
Yeah, but that's the unit, isn't it? That's that back forward. How long they've been going? 200 years as a unit. As soon as the ball was in flight, Shearer's going to flick it and step up on him.
Chris Ray. Parler. Petit is up there. And, well, Rob Lee did a captain's job there in the coolest possible way. Temperature must be something in the 80s down there on the pitch. There is just a bit of breeze at this sort of height.
I mean, that's going to play a major part in the second half, isn't it? Particularly if it's still all square or something like that. It's then who wilts, who makes the best substitution. I mean, you look at the substitutes on both sides. They're littered with big players, aren't they?
Speed with the intervention. Arsenal's kick. Both sides with very good attacking options. There's never been a goalless draw, incidentally, in the FA Cup from way back in 1872. Is that tempting Providence? Either think there's some good attacking players here. We shall pick up a goal or two, don't worry. Vieira floating it through. Pistoni with a header back, and not a very good one. And a shout. No, he couldn't quite hold on to it, Given. It's provided Arsenal with another corner.
Twice in the last few moments, though, we've seen Petit make breaks from the middle of the field. Once when he pressurised Lee, in that particular instance, when they've given him Pistoni's given an unnecessary corner away.
Omar's again. Deep one, and flicked on by, I think it's probably Anelka who flicked it on.
Was Brian. Yeah, once again, a little bit disturbing if you're in the Newcastle camp. He's flipped it up. This time, Adams has made an early run. He's done it almost side by side. But Anelka's pulled off and got a little touch on.
Shay Given with a kick, his first ever trip to Wembley.
I actually think in this early period, Arsenal are testing the Newcastle backline to its absolute limit. And every time Parler's had a chance to run forward, he's run forward. And obviously, Stuart Pearce has been one of the greats. He's nowhere near as quick as he used to be. And I think Wenger will have been talking about, go on, test his pace, throw a few behind him, see if his stamina's still as good as it used to be.
His spirit hasn't wavered for a moment. He's getting a little bit involved there.
Well, he'll be playing like that when he's 70. He'll still be getting stuck in, but that whole driving, retrieving pace is not there.
Well, Christopher Ray felt the weight of it there. Arsenal get a free kick. Pickett and White warming up on the other side. But just as a precaution, no more. Dixon with the free kick, playing it into Keown, and now to Tony Adams. Keown releasing it forward, looking in fact for Anelka, but it falls in the end for Ray. And now here's Parler, shoved off the ball, but no foul by Gary Speed. That's the Newcastle throw. Well, there we are, 90.4 degrees Fahrenheit down on the pitch at the moment. I always say, take your holidays when the cup final's on, or at the start of the new football season. You're bound to get sunshine then. And
is that why you're packing up then?
You've heard, you've rumbled me.
The other thing, of course, is one of the things you say at Wembley, you can't chase the game. You can't go mad and pressure all over the field. It seems to sap, whether it's the energy, whether it's the emotion, whatever it is. And the game has had a fairly high tempo. Players have been trying to pressurise people, particularly in the middle of the field. And, you know, these conditions, that's not going to be easy to maintain during the course of 90 minutes. And I think as they do drop off, the game will get stretched. There'll be more space for the creative players to play.
To be fair, at the moment, there's just that one Overmars run that's quickened the blood a little bit, but nothing much more. Adams playing it in for Petit, taken from behind by the Newcastle captain Rob Lee.
And as soon as he blew Paul Dirk, he knew he could have had a great advantage there on Vieira. Full marks to the ref, though. At least he held his hand up and showed he's almost human.
Vieira, Adams, Vieira. Oh, beautiful play. Eluded those two challenges superbly. Parler picks up Dixon, looks for the return. Ray Parler, Harris trying to keep it in, and just over the top from Anelka, and it was a wonderful chance for Arsenal. That was a great break, and the architect of it was Vieira in the first place.
There's some super football emanates in this. Parler sticks it in, and all right, he's coming in a bit first, but in a match of this magnitude, that's a sitter. All started, O'Brien, high up the field when I think it was Batty, and I think it was Ketspar went chasing against Adams, and he picked him off with a little ball into Vieira.
And Newcastle at the moment just can't get going. Anelka, you talk about Overmars' pace. Oh. If anything, Anelka's ahead of him. But he couldn't stop that going in. It's a Newcastle throw. And they are playing second fiddle at the moment.
Well, I think Newcastle have had 3 anxious moments already. The 2 headers from the crosses, albeit one was a foul, and that was a glorious chance. And sometimes, when you sit on the bench and see chances missed against you, you think, I wonder, is it our day? Because at some given time, Shearer will get a chance, won't he? Or Ketspire. But at the moment, it's certainly Arsenal. Arsenal are very, very impressive for me. Very composed, they look the business.
Here's Keown.
And I think this is where Newcastle have got to be patient. I think they've got to say, all right, you can have possession there. We can't chase your back players, but we've got to make sure your midfield players and your strikers don't get good possession. Just as they've done here.
Petit. And Elka's after it. Bray's in there too. Terrific work by Stuart Pearce. Now Vieira, the next wave of Arsenal attacks. Winterburn, Petit, Vieira. No, bad ball. Straight to Stuart Pearce. He's got Ketspire to support him. Here's Batty. Ketspire. Up towards speed. Gets it back to Ketspire. Batty again. Pearce. Shearer trying what he can find on the far side, but shoved to the ground. And look at the rangy run of Vieira here, and Anelka taking it on. Vieira's gone into the box. Overmars is in there too. But Warren Barton will hook it away for Newcastle United. Halfway through the first half, 0-0. Petit to Tony Adams. Petit knocking it forward. Overmars, has he got in behind Pistone? Overmars! 1-0!
This is a lovely through ball. It's been threatening. That terrible marking from Pistone. He's marking on the outside. They've allowed a lot of space behind for a player who's one of the quickest in the world. And to be fair, all right, it has a little bit of touch of luck when he just makes the keeper Shea Given. But that's great play on the Arsenal's point of view. Terrible defending there. Ball watching, wrong position. I mean, a man like Overmars is a threat. Wherever the ball is, you mark him. But they've been threatening to do that all match, Brian. Just sticking balls in and turning the Newcastle defence.
And we said almost at the start, is this the man to ruin Newcastle's afternoon? Well, his pace got the better of Pistone. It wasn't the greatest of shots, but he finished in the back of the net, and Arsenal are leading 1-0.
To be fair to him, he's quite brave as well, because Gibbon was coming out like a...
And here's Overmars again, Ron. And Anelka's after him as well, and Anelka's got the rush. There was a shove in the back on Davies' ass. Free kick.
I'll tell you what, Davies was looking the other side. He didn't see Anelka coming in like flying.
Howie to Pearce. And now they look even more towards Shearer. Batty. Goals this season for Overmars now. What a terrific contribution. And he's played in every cup tie that Arsenal played. Batty to Lee.
You'd have to say that was an unusual for an Italian defender to be marking that far adrift. I'm one of the accepted danger men, though, wouldn't you?
You would. Pistone. Batty. Lee. Barton. Back in again. Parler there. But Batty can pick it up, and Shearer's waiting in there. Ketspire's on the far side, but he couldn't quite keep it in. Goal kick.
He's delighted, the Arsenal fans. And as Ron was saying, Pistone caught badly there. And as Given came out, Overmars finished the job superbly.
Yeah, very, very impressed. You know all about his pace, you know all about his feet. But he showed a lot of courage there. He could well have ended up on the end of Given's boot there.
Good jump by Howie. Here's Shearer. He's hardly been in it so far. How he must regret the absence of Keith Gillespie. Gillespie injured, of course, and the man who provides this fellow Alan Shearer with just that right sort of service from the crosses, as Gillespie did so brilliantly on ITV earlier this season for Tino Asprilla in that wonderful game against Barcelona. That sort of width is missing from Newcastle this afternoon. As the ball goes into touch again.
I've been watching Batty as well, you know. I think that he's got to get himself more disciplined in terms of his position. He seems as if he's drifting everywhere to try and receive the ball from his own back players, and yet he's giving Petty and Vieira plenty of space to play in. For me, that should be his first problem, should be to win that battle.
Howie gets it back. Gibbons plays it forward, finds Batty. Dabizas. Pistone. Inside again, he's played a good ball there. Lee, Speed trying to get to it. Winterburn's there first for Arsenal, and here come the champions again. Dixon. The ball played nicely up to Ray. Vieira. They're buzzing at the moment, Arsenal.
I think you made the comment there, Brian, champions, and they're playing like it. They've come out like champions, and they're playing like champions for me.
Winterburn, cut out that time by Warren Barton.
And I must admit, I've actually had a fancy like yourself that Newcastle might sneak it, might win it. At the moment, there's not a suggestion of that, is there?
Not really at the moment.
There's a long, long way to go.
Yes, we're not even at the half-hour mark yet. And with Shearer, you've always got a chance. Here's Pistone. Shearer chasing this, but Adams... Well, for once, Adams didn't complete the job, and Shearer bangs it in again. It comes for Ketspire. It comes for Ketspire. It's a shot that stings the hands of David Seaman, but no more than that. But there was the warning, and there's the suggestion that Newcastle aren't by any means out of this cup final.
I must admit, it's a big, deep cross, skims off his head, takes it in one, and on another day, you know, that could have gone well wide of Seaman. But the two best, or the two only efforts at the moment have both come from Ketspire. He's shown he's not reluctant if he's in with shooting range to have a pop at goal. He had the one that narrowly went by the post, and that wasn't a bad effort.
Adams.
The other important thing is, Brian, this next goal, if there is another goal, it's so important, isn't it? If it's Arsenal, you could see them romping in the sun, couldn't you, second half?
Harry's header.
If it's Newcastle, who knows?
Petit winning that in the air and gets it again. What a powerful man he is, trying to get Ray away there. Parler tries to come in, challenged by Barton, a free kick to Newcastle. Warren Barton, who was, I think he's an Islington boy, an Arsenal lad in a way, and in fact trained there for a couple of years before he went to Maidstone and then on to Wimbledon and eventually to Newcastle.
Didn't he go to Newcastle in preference to Arsenal? There was a lot of talk of men joining Arsenal at the time.
Well, he was Kevin Keegan signing. It was something like a record, something like 4 million for a fullback.
Yeah.
Pistone. Oh, it's his 100th match today. But so far, not a happy one. Howie getting out to Ketspire. Speed. Knocked off the ball there. Won't come through to Shearer either. And a squad of red shirts come flying forward again. And look at the pace of Anelka again. That's incredible pace by Nicholas Anelka. And that was total optimism.
Well, you said about that, Brian, look at this. It makes up the ground here. It's like there's a treading water and going backwards at the moment. As you say, a little bit more composure, but full marks. What is he, 19?
Winterburn.
He is a player.
Spartan. Shearer coming a little deeper to get into this game a bit more. And speed just caught offside. Slightly better timing on his part, and that could have been a very interesting situation. He's dangerous.
Yeah, he's actually stood in there. If you're going to get through their offside trap from midfield, it's got to be on a run. You can't be stood in there. They'll step on you all day. They know the business. That's the difference, I think, in the two back fours. One is a very good organised unit in terms of to give ground at the back and when to step. I think at the moment, for whatever reason, I think Newcastle are playing a little bit of odds and sods and swordsmans there.
The thing that surprised me a bit, Ron, is that Ketspire seems to be playing wide on the left and Shearer is the only one up, and here he is now. But now he's got some support from Ketspire and Lee on the far side, but Lee Dixon.
Yeah, I think he just basically he goes where he fancies Ketspire. He's one of those loose cannons, and at the moment I'd have to say probably Newcastle's best bet.
Batty to Pistone. In comes Winterburn. Batty again. Anelka challenged rather crudely from behind that time by Davitas. Howie. Two cup finals between these two great old clubs, both won by Newcastle. Anelka, and in 1932 with the ball that did it cross the line or didn't it, and in 1952 when Wally Barnes was injured, there were no substitutes in those days, and George Robledo, the Chilean, won it for Newcastle just before the end. Well, in this third cup final between the two, Arsenal at the moment have the ascendancy. Well, he's a scientific, very calm man is Arsene Wenger, a man who sticks to his principles, one of which was that Anelka probably wasn't worth his place, they said, but he stuck with him, and here's Overmars.
Done well there, Robert Lee. He dressed the situation brilliantly and gave the ball away in a very dangerous position, and he's managed, like it, as you say, like a captain to...
and a brave challenge there by Lee.
Yeah,
a brave challenge there.
But I thought midfield would be the key area, and certainly at the moment you'd have to say that the trio, if you count it, you don't really count Overmars, he's a flying machine down the flank, but the trio of Arsenal players is actually on top of the Newcastle.
Parla, Vieira and Petit.
Parla, Vieira and Petit, yeah, plus that. Overmars a little bit of an auxiliary player, tucks back in if necessary, but he's the one that carries the fight down the flank.
Well, it's Manu Petit with the free kick, or will he leave it to Nigel Winterburn? Well, here is Winterburn. Petit. Pierce with a trusty left boot, getting it away. Keown with a flicked header there for Adams. Adams, great captain, leads from the front. Very much in the style, actually, when you look back to 1971 and Arsenal's double year of Frank McClintock. And the great side managed by Bertie Mee.
I think Alan Shearer might have a point there. I think that was a free kick.
Anelka again. Look at his pace. Oh, the whistle's gone. It'll bring him back. There's a foul on Davitas.
They are leaving a lot of grass behind them at the moment, Newcastle. There's a little bit of a grapple. I thought he was a bit lucky to get a free kick there, Davitas.
Pistone. Barton's well forward. Winterburn gets it clear. Arsenal still leading by Mark Overmars' goal. Ketspire. Here's speed. Ketspire, Batty, flicking the ball through, not good enough for Lee, as Overmars doing his work at the back as well.
I'm just saying he's a winger, but look at the way he tucks in and helps, and he's took a clatter off the ball.
He's taken a clatter, yeah. Batty again. Ketspire. And now Lee. Here's Pistoni. Barton. Throw to Newcastle. Barton, an overhead. Where will this go? Towards Shearer, just over his head. And here comes Parler now for Arsenal. The ball is hit long. Given has spotted it well. Came to the edge of his box and he needed to.
Akers again, you know, I mean, Ray Parler, to be fair, if he just angles the ball and drops it in the corner of the field, nobody will live with Anelka. And the two centre-halves are playing right square on with each other, the two Newcastle centre-halves. Neither's given any sort of insurance to the other.
Batty. Harry. That'll be a Newcastle throw, yes. Overmars has still got a little bit of a problem after the challenge of a couple of minutes ago. But he's done his damage already. But here comes Stuart Pearce with one of those howitzers. A real long-range effort. Plays it to speed, chested down by him. Batty's shot, well wide. When you talk about the Newcastle defence with a lot of grass behind them, tell me what you, or tell the viewers, what should they be doing, Newcastle, then?
Well, I think they've got to try and make Arsenal play in front of them. They've got to try and have Anelka and Ray have the ball in defeat. They're inviting them to play right against them, right on the shoulder. And anything, even if it's not a great ball, and let's be fair, Arsenal can knock great balls with their quality. Even if it's not a great ball, if it goes in behind them, they're never, ever going to catch Anelka. Ray's quick, and you know what Overmars is like this. So I think that they've got to drop it, maybe even defend deeper, and say, go on, make them have it into feet. Right, we know Anelka's still a tidy player with the ball at his feet, but at least it's the worst. It's the worst of two options is to let them have it behind you. You know, they've been disrupted as well. I think, you know, they've probably been used to playing more with a three, and Pistoni playing on the left, galloping down the left-hand side. I mean, there's not been a cross as they come in from Newcastle's left yet. Because basically, I mean, Stuart Pearce isn't going to make up the ground on that side. And you mentioned about Ketspire going out there. You know, I'm sure if the little Irishman was playing on the right wing, then this fellow Pistoni would be on his more natural side. And yes, it may well be a three-man defence would suit them a little bit better.
Batty.
But I know one famous commentator that always used to say it only takes a second.
That's right.
And there's only one goal to diff at the moment.
That's right. Barton. In goes Winterburn. Pearce. Shearer. That's a free kick. That's a free kick. The foul by Keown. And it's, I guess, 8 to 10 yards outside the Arsenal penalty area. I don't know whether it's Stuart Pearce territory or not. It might well be. Or Shearer.
It's a right-footed ball, I would guess. Although you never know with Pearce, he can blatter them from anywhere, couldn't he?
Well, it looks as though he wants to say. Kitz-Myers there too.
I think it'll be Shearer.
Yeah, I think it will.
Maybe go, well, I don't know. It depends how much room Steeman leaves on his right hand. But he has did score his first goal for Newcastle from here.
Well, it's either Shearer or Pearce. So it's going to be something like 28 yards. It's Shearer. Too high. I guess he's a bit frustrated at the moment too, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You don't blame him for having to go at that. He wants to get it up and down quickly, but and that's his first look at goal, isn't it? you know, if you're a striker, particularly one that scores as many as he does, he hasn't had any sort of a chance. He hasn't had a crumb to feed off, and that's, you know, that's something you'd be looking for.
Here's Buck. As we come towards half-time, Newcastle looking for a decisive break that brings them back into this game. Pistoni, Lee, a bit of space ahead of him. Speed has come to this side as well. Pistoni, that cross is far too close. Well, it's behind the goal in any case.
Last few minutes, few more signs that Newcastle have sort of, whether Arsenal have put an awful lot in it and just stepping off the gas a little bit, and Newcastle are coming and having their time, but they've just started to get into the game a little bit.
Without any great conviction, to be honest.
No, I mean, Seaman, apart from the Ketspire shots, has had a comparatively easy match. Well, he's had ever such an easy match.
Harris header, looking it towards Pearce, but left him a little bit stranded. And Parler playing it in now for Ray, and Ray with a shot that's too high.
That's the only criticism of Arsenal at all today. I mean, I think they've been excellent in the first half, but maybe they've frittered one or two little things. I mean, good control, probably in keeping with the rest of the game. That should have been on target.
Notice there are water bottles all around the ground, but although we say it's 90 degrees, none of the players are actually, as far as I can see, have availed themselves of it.
I tell you what I think has happened. There's quite a nice cooling breeze,
yes.
Isn't it? It certainly is up here, isn't it?
Winterburn. Petit. Adams away. Warren Barton. 2.5 minutes to half time. There's been some good stuff, but it hasn't as yet been the spectacle that so many of us thought.
No, I think that's due to the fact Arsenal have looked. I think Arsenal have played well. I had a feeling they might not perform on the day, but they've been excellent. All right, they're having a little breather now, I think, and letting Newcastle back, having a look at their half of the field. But in terms of composure and control and belief, they've looked excellent.
Davizas gets it back to Gibbon. Keown.
I've got to be honest, if I was Kenny, I would certainly consider playing with a third man in the centre. Somebody to just ensure, either bring Stuart Pearce in a bit narrower, switch Pistoni back to his natural position. And if he's worried at all about, which you've got to be about the left-hand side, maybe even switch Robert Lee to the right-hand side of midfield, with half looking after Overmars and half looking to block Winterburn getting off.
Good play here by Lee. Oh, and well, he found Warren Barton, but Barton slipped at the crucial moment, and here comes Vieira. And here come Arsenal again. Ray blocked well, though. And here's Pistoni. Will keep it going for Newcastle now. Barton, though, challenged by Ray, beaten by him. Petit, and away goes Overmars again. Davizas is trying to get across him. Anelka's in the middle. Ray Parler wants it as well, and it's over the top.
Another glaring example. They just had a let-off just before this that Davizas had won a challenge on Ray, which could have put Overmars through. As Overmars runs, sets the ball up. That's not an easy shot to hit, but the way they're playing Arsenal, that should have made the keeper work. But I mean, as soon as they lost possession, you think the alarm bells would go and think, oh no, Overmars is free. Somebody get across there and button it down.
Adams, a big up and under, and it'll go straight through, I think, to Shea Gibbon.
But even that, you know, with people of the pace they've got, if that's on an angle and not running onto the keeper, that will give them a chance. That's always a fighting ball or a chance of ball for them.
Batty, Pistoni. Dabizas up towards Shearer. Not really the sort of ball Shearer wants. He's complaining that Adams was all over him.
I think he's got a case, Brian. That's the second time. I mean, Tony Adams is just making sure that Shearer doesn't get onto it.
Adams, I think, was sent off last season at Newcastle.
Yeah, I think he's got a genuine case
for
there.
a foul on Shearer.
That's the second time, as I say, Adams has sort of, he's jumped, but not with an intention of heading it, but making sure your other man doesn't get it.
That long ball again, and it might put them in trouble. No, Dabizas got there just in time, but Parler's trying to keep it going. Pearce and Ketspire then. Well, they're claiming some elbows, at least Keown is. Referee Paul Durkin just going around to clear things up, and Ketspire's all right. Now, were there elbows there, Ron?
Doesn't look like elbows. It looks as if he's caught him with his sort of forearm. He's sort of thrown him to the ground, but I don't think it's one of those that could split anything. They've got the foul. That's the right decision.
Playing time added on at the end of 45 minutes. It's Adams being chased by Shearer, and Shearer putting Adams to the ground, and the referee has put his hand in his pocket, and Shearer is going to get a yellow card. Yellow card for Shearer. What about that, Ron?
I think it's a bit of afters from the other. I think that's a genuine competition. We have to accept, I mean, without going into the things that Leicester do, we have to accept that Shearer will chase lost causes, and sometimes if you're a little bit short on it, you're going to make contact with him. I don't deliberately think that he went to do him there.
But I think also it was conditioned by what had gone before.
Yeah, I think it's afters. A little bit of afters.
Well, there's the half-time. It's not been a bad first half for Arsenal. They played well. Mark Overmars' goal after 23 minutes is what divides the sides. And it was Petit playing it in here. And it was a lovely ball. And Pistone just couldn't get to grips with Overmars. And there it is, finishing at the back of the Newcastle net. It's still to come. Remember the analysis from Ruud Gullit and from Glenn Hoddle, and your chance to win the prize of a lifetime. That's after the break.
Take him, skin him and do him. That's it. That's it.
Welcome back to Wembley Stadium, where it's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0 after 45 minutes. Ruud Gullit and Glenn Hoddle are with me. An overview of this first half, Ruud.
I think that first 15 minutes Newcastle wanted to be physical, and then later on they get into shape, but I think tactically they have only one striker in Newcastle. So
Shearer.
Yeah, and Kisbay plays on Dixon on the left side, and every time when Newcastle has the ball, yeah, there's only one striker, so they have to kick it forward, and the ball comes back again. And they try to put the whole team around, just back from the midfield, from the middle line. But you know, you give them so much space to play. Adams, Keown, and then Vieira gets the ball, and all the time they try to press also a little bit. So every time they ball, the goal that Arsenal made was a good example of that. They had all the space, get the ball over it.
Well, that's right. There's speed that Newcastle have, but the speed right throughout the Arsenal side, Glenn.
It's a great move from Arsenal. It's the first time in the game that there's been any sort of controlled football, and we've got past 4 or 5 passes. And you can see them being, it's a super ball from Petit. And there he is, Overmars, who's not really known for his strength, but he shrugged off Pistone, and he's finished tremendously well. But the move was an excellent move where they kept the ball.
The Dutchman's done well.
But it is easy. Look, before that, Adams had the ball, Petit had the ball. They could easily just knock the ball to each other, no pressure at all. So they could just, you know, pick one player. And and also if you then try to push up as a defender.
It's a great ball from Petit as well.
That's true.
He's played some great balls this season.
But, but the pace that we talked about, I mean, that's evident with young Anelka as well, Glenn. I mean, he's a young kid. I mean, the pace that came from Ray Parler in this move.
They can't live with Anelka's pace or Overmars' pace, and this is what's causing Newcastle all sorts of trouble. And again, a nice little move from Arsenal. Parler's pace, he's put a change of pace in his game now, and really Anelka should finish this off. I mean, that is food and drink to a striker of that quality and at this level.
I think that there's too much difference in quality, especially when they're on the ball. I think that Newcastle is dangerous more for themselves when they have the ball. That says already enough. And so they kick the ball away, and they.
Only one chance of the first half, and it wasn't really a chance catch by Rudy. I mean, it was
it came
small fair, wasn't it?
It was a chance, but it came again from the left side. You know, he has to support more Shearer, but I think his assignment was to play from the left side.
Yes.
And yeah, Shearer is on his own. He's frustrated, and you can see that the last tackle he made on Adams is pure frustration because he's on his own.
Yes.
Here comes the cross, and okay, he comes from the left. You know, it's a good ball, but it's you know, it's not really the chance that they're waiting for. And the first cross also from the game.
Yeah, it's straight at seam as well, and let's face it, for 45 minutes that's the best they've offered, Newcastle.
Yes.
And they've got a problem. They've got a, you know, they've got a problem. At half-time, Kenny's got a problem, and he's either got to change the shape of his team, or he's got to change.
Do you expect him to do that?
Or he's going to change the personnel. And if he doesn't, I said I'd like to have seen him play with three at the back to begin with. It would have given more options.
Yeah, Nova Mars pace again. Ray Parler should have scored. We said Anelka should have scored. Parler should have scored as well, Rudy, here.
You know, it was, you know, they can pick it out. It doesn't matter. You know, they have more quality on the ball. Of course, it's not an easy ball to hit. But, you know, it's a great chance. It's just wait for the second goal of Arsenal. And it's a pity for the game that the quality is such a difference, you know, from one side to the other.
Yeah.
I think the point as well, Bob, is that they've got so much pace, but now they're 1-0 up. They can hit Newcastle on the counter.
Okay, thanks for the moment, gents. Arsenal's first half then, the cup still very much to be won. But now the first part of our glorious 12th competition on offer, the sporting day of a lifetime for two on July the 12th. The British Grand Prix plus the World Cup final. Live coverage of both events, of course, only on ITV. You fly with us by helicopter across the channel and you enjoy the action from the best seats in the house. 4 questions to answer over the weeks ahead. Now, these are the programmes in which we'll be running the competition. The Champions League final this coming Wednesday. The Monaco Grand Prix next weekend, and the Canadian Grand Prix in 3 weeks' time. Now, the questions will all be connected with the British Grand Prix or the World Cup finals. So here we go. Which Italian player missed the penalty kick? So the questions: which Italian player missed the penalty kick in the 1994 final, which meant that Brazil once more became world champions? Was it A, Paolo Maldini, B, Roberto Baggio, C, Nicola Berti? Well, the next question will be in our Champions League programme on Wednesday, a great match in prospect between Juventus and Real Madrid. Entry details will follow after we've given you all 4 questions. Details on teletext page 127. But 2 of world football's greatest names in Amsterdam and 2 of English football's biggest clubs are currently engaged here at Wembley. No doubt using this 15-minute half-time break to sort a few things out, particularly Newcastle. It's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. Can Kenny Dalglish sort things out for the Magpies? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back. It's Arsenal who are ahead here at Wembley after 45 minutes. 1-0 the score. Mark Overmars the scorer. And Glenn, in view of recent events, just tell me what you thought about the Shearer booking, because it was another little incident. Which, does it show his frustration or what?
No, I think it was frustration off the back of the decision that went against him. But that for me is a booking, no more, no less. Nothing malicious. He's tried to play the ball. He's got there a little bit late. And at the end of the day, it was a good decision by the referee. But I think you'll find it was a bit of frustration. He didn't get the free kick on the edge of the box from Tony Adams, and it was just how it panned out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to jump in there because Dennis Bergkamp's down in the tunnel there. He's with Gary Newbot.
Dennis Bergkamp, obviously good to be leading 1-0, but what do Arsenal think of the first half overall?
Well, I think overall we had a very nervous start. You could see that on both sides. But after the first 10-15 minutes, we started to control the game, I think. And yeah, good finish of Mark Overmars, so we're confident now.
But you've missed some other chances. Could have done with your finishing on 1 or 2 occasions.
Well, I think again it's a great atmosphere, of course, and you start to be a bit nervous in those situations. But yeah, they've done well to lead 1-0 and hopefully get another one.
How hot is it for the players out there?
Well, it's hot on the bench already, so it's amazing that they keep it up, but they're doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the commentary box with Ron Atkinson and me, Brian Moore. He's having a great day in Wright, great character, and a wonderful guy to have in a camp, actually. He keeps everybody going, and I've no doubt his manager is well aware of his capabilities should he need him from the bench. We have a look around, and in fact, both sides, no changes at half-time. Does that surprise you, Ron?
I think they'll leave it, particularly Newcastle. They'll probably have a look at it for 10 minutes or so, but I think he'll have to make changes, even altering the shape of the side.
So here comes the second half. Ketspire still away on this left flank, with Shearer very much the lone man up front, looking for support from the Ketspires and the Speeds, Rob Lees and so on of this world. Stoney, the deflection into the path of Robert Lee. Batty's gone forward for him. He hasn't changed the personnel. I'll ask Ron in a moment if he thinks he's changed the shape of the side. Here's Pistone well forward, looking for a good cross, and the young Italian failing dismally to provide it.
Yeah, he's certainly not as comfortable on the right-hand side. I mean, he's been given a marking job there because he's got pace, and they probably think he could run with Overmars. But they're losing something in terms of carrying the fight. And for me, I think there's got to be a change with Pistone. I think he's either got to come across and play on his left-hand side, and they've got to say, all right, somebody else has got to deal with Overmars, be it Watson on the bench or be it Barton. He's offside there. There he is, living on the shoulder. If he'd have been a yard short of that, he'd have caught that. And there's nothing Newcastle could have done about it.
Was offside. Wouldn't argue with that linesman's decision. Here's Winterburn. Petit. Winterburn. Well, he's shown too much of that. And Lee just getting it across, but ever reliable Tony Adams is there again. Now here's Batty, who's available now. Pistone hasn't had the best of days. And that, in a way, sums up Newcastle's day so far.
Plus the fact he's only a young lad, isn't he?
That's right.
You might say Vieira's only young, and Anelka, but you know, they've been stilled and they've had a great season, so their confidence is high. Pistone's facing one of the most dangerous players in the league. He's having to play in. I know he's played on the right-hand side a few times, but he's not, for me, as comfortable there as I've seen him in other positions.
He's still only 22, but here's Vieira. And Vieira is still only 21. What a formidable figure. Here's Ray. Here's Vieira. Oh, it falls for Shearer. He's got Barton up alone with him. It's a lone furrow for Alan Shearer here. And he was dogged all the way by a combination of Winterburn and Vieira. And here come Arsenal again with Petit. Parler. Anelka's made the run. He's offside.
Oh, I tell you what, and Parler's just realised if he looks the other way, Overmars is running through a high inside left position completely unmarked.
Batty for Newcastle.
I mean, all right, you can be critical of Newcastle's backline and defending, but yeah, you still have to say the pace and movement of the Arsenal players, I think, is superb.
Here's Dabizas.
That's a risk ball.
That is a very dangerous ball.
See, Arsenal are good. Arsenal are good at that. They'll invite the ball to go to the wide defender, and then they press while it's in flight. They've done it a few times with Pistone. Overmars has done it.
Petit, Overmars, Petit. Barton caught him there, and Barton's going to get the yellow card.
He's done a little pirouette there, and he's caught him with his... Petit's been in the wars recently, hasn't he, with the bang he got in the last game against Everton. See, there was a first-class incident just before then when Petit received it, you know. If instead of turning back, he'd have just knocked it down the side into that particular area now, Anelka would have run the defence there for fun.
Here's Anelka. Overmars couldn't collect. Barton couldn't collect. But Davitas can bring it away. Got some support from Robert Lee. Lee's done well, and Pistone coming up on the outside now. And away come Newcastle this time, but look at Vieira, those long legs and that great stride. And Adams, will let it go over? For what? Goal kick.
No, that should have been a corner.
Should have been a corner. In fact, I think he's given a free kick, hasn't he? David Seaman with it. Davitas, Vieira, Anelka, Parla. Here's Dixon. Ketsbayer coming back. Free kick. Foul by Ketsbayer. A free kick for Arsenal, dangerous position. Petit will take it. Anelka right, Overmars, Vieira, Adams now coming up for it.
Is this the one Adams just spin to the back? He hasn't arrived yet. He's just about to get to that secondary position.
He's looked for him, but he hasn't quite found him. Good spot one. And it comes now for Shearer, but he's a long, long way from home. And Winterburn will go into the book for the foul on Alan Shearer. Johnson left his leg there. I don't know how much contact
I don't even think he made contact. And the ball was a million miles away.
Vieira.
He was very unlucky there, Winterburn.
Ray. Parlo's made a break. Petit's made a break. Now Pistone. Arsenal continue to make the running, but there's still just that single goal, and all things are possible here at Wembley. Foul by Barton. Arsenal's free kick.
We certainly can't afford to be arguing a minute after being booked. I mean, that's the last thing Newcastle can do with it.
Winterburn. Oh, straight to Batty. Barton. Pistone comes back to Barton again. Riding their luck at the moment. Howie.
You'd probably say if there's a noticeable difference, it's possibly a greater sense of urgency from Newcastle.
They've stepped the pace up a bit, haven't they?
But Arsenal themselves are making a lot of unforced errors. Or certainly more than they did in the whole of the first half.
Pierce. Gets by. Davitas. Gets by again. Oh, just got the ball through to David Batty. And there's his long cross in. Seaman with it. Got it. Lost it. Barton's foot was up, but there was no contact. The crowd, I think, made it worse than it was, but there was no problem there.
Now, a bit sloppy there, goalkeeper, didn't he?
Lovely touch by Overmars. Parla, yes one. Parla. Yellow card for Davitas.
I've got a feeling if they're not careful, we're going to see a repeat of the Kevin Moran thing here, you know.
The only player to be sent off in a Wembley Cup final, Kevin Moran, 1985. You were pretty close to the action there, weren't you?
Not as close as Peter Reid.
The referee.
No, Peter Reid was the fellow went flying.
Oh, right.
Somebody said Reedy was one-on-one.
Oh, right. Here's Overmars. Batty will bring it away. They're looking for free kicks.
Yeah, there has been a little bit of theatrical about one or two of these off.
Offside, well offside. Caught by Shearer.
think that's what Shearer lacks, you know. He lacks somebody that can play a cunning ball, somebody like
John Barnes.
You know what? You've read the script there, haven't you? You just wonder whether he could have come on and fiddled about on the left-hand side. You know, obviously he's not going to run all day, but he might just play the one pass that gets Shearer in.
Here's Lee. Rob Lee, forward to Barton. Here's Pistone. Gets the ball in. It came a long way there to Batty. Batty playing it again for Barton. Barton obviously felt that was a handball by Tony Adams. Well, will there be a place for John Barnes in this game yet? His 5th cup final. Free kick. Newcastle fans getting behind their team now, looking for the breakthrough. But not from this. Goal kick.
Yeah, they've certainly had more territory this half than they had in the first half, Newcastle, but without really offering a real threat. And you wonder whether Arsenal saying, hey.
Sir John Hall on the right there, next to His Royal Highness, Newcastle chairman, telling me in the week that he can't bear to watch his side play when the going gets tough. He slips away from his private box at St James's Park, but there really is no hiding place here at Wembley in the Royal Box.
I was going to say, if he didn't make it today, I know plenty of people at Gallagher would have had his ticket.
Exactly. Missed kick by Dixon. But it's a throw to Arsenal. Such an imperious figure, 21 years old, and his ball just a little too far ahead of him.
But that is the sort of service I think Shearer would need. I mean, that's an overhit ball, not enough die in it, but you know, I'm sure Shearer would welcome somebody that could just stick the ball up alongside and say, go on, instead of having fighting balls like he's having at the moment.
Free kick again to Arsenal, the foul on Overmars. I understand Winterburn's got a little bit of an ankle problem, and Gremondi is warming up. Overmars. Parler. Still Parler. But Ketspire comes in, gets the ball forward to Shearer, and Shearer's had a dreadful service.
I tell you what, you just look at him, you have to admire him, don't you? I mean, it's been said many times, but he's got so much in his locker in terms of power.
And also that enforced break that he had for the first part of the season up to January. His batteries are still charging well now. Cloughy always used to say it's often a blessing in disguise if a player gets a serious injury early on in the season. When you come to the matches you really have to win at the end of the season, you know, his appetite is full, and I'm sure that's the case with Shearer.
To be fair, I don't remember too many Clough's players missing matches. All seemed to be playing when we were playing.
It was a good field. Here's Steve Harry, and there is something a little more about Newcastle now, Ron. They're not making their They're not making their chances, but they are.
I'm just wondering whether Arsenal put too much into, not too much, but put a lot into the first half, and have maybe gone to either tiredness or a little bit of cruise control at the moment. Or whether they're saying, hey, we're not going to overstretch, we're not going to overcommit, we'll have a little look at the thing, we're winning 1-0, we've got a double in our pocket if we keep going.
Speed to Shearer. Oh, he's gone past that. No, he hasn't.
No, that is a booking. That should be a booking, that. You can say you're clumsy or whatever there, but Shearer's left him for dead there, Tony.
I think Newcastle begin to sense there might be something here for them. Well, they got plenty forward. Steve Howe's right in the middle of the penalty area for this one. Speed has made those little runs of his, and it's Keown who emerges with the clearance.
Yeah, they're playing a bit of stretch now, aren't they? It was once or twice when there were sloppy passes just after half-time, and, you know, they haven't had quite the continuity they had in the first half.
A long ball towards Gary Speed. Goal kick.
I tell you what, I don't think we've mentioned. I mean, you talk about cup finals, atmosphere and some. Been a long time since I can remember an atmosphere like this at a cup final. The crowd are into it, and all right, it's not a classic of a game, but the crowd is certainly very responsive, isn't it?
Seaman with the kick. Parler not making the header. Ketspire, Batty. Now this could be a Batty situation. He'll relish the fight for this in this situation. Adams ducking in there. Seaman knowing what to expect.
You know, the pendulum could swing. You're talking about whether Newcastle should be making changes. I'm wondering whether Arsene Wenger's possibly thinking about Ian Wright. The lad Ray seems to have just faded from the scene a little bit, you know.
It would certainly have crossed his mind. It certainly would have crossed his mind. Dixon with the throw. Parler. Anelka couldn't pick it up. Ray couldn't get there in time. Newcastle's throw. So Gary Speed down there clapping his hands and looking at people around him and urging them now, for this is a time to make a really big effort for Newcastle. Speed. Batty. Speed chasing, but Keown is there. And that is such a formidable Arsenal defence. Up goes Ketspire, but Adams gets there first. Falls for Shearer. Nobody there.
They're certainly blocking in a lot more, aren't they? And although Shearer's still the lone striker, they're managing at least to get more people into the other half of the field.
And there's Andreas Andersson warming up on the far side for Newcastle. Pearce. I think David Platt might be coming on. Now, Shearer played into Batty. This looks better again for Newcastle. Lee. Good break by Lee. Batty couldn't pick it up, but Newcastle get a free kick.
How times have changed in this day. Years ago, Stuart Pearce would have been there already in this position.
Well, he's getting across there now.
But they're very untidy at the moment, Arsenal. Complete contrast to the first half when they were composed and strong and professional.
Well, Stuart Pearce
has also moved that forward about 5 yards as well. It'll be a penalty before he takes it. But
Paul Durkin was too quick for that. But we've seen him over the years. He's hit some stormers from this sort of range. Stuart Pearce against the Arsenal wall, against David Seaman, to bring this back to level terms, but he hits it into the wall, and Arsenal maybe have a chance to break. No, good play there by Lee. And that's another free kick. The foul on Davitas by Tony Adams.
Well, you can't make too many complaints about that. Davitas has done him for pace. All of a sudden, you could get a right dramatic swing round, couldn't we?
Well, we've been saying for most of the second half that there is a new look about Newcastle United in their attitude. So the free kick floated in, and wow! And it was Davitas who won the free kick in the first place, who was so close. He scored once with a header for Newcastle since he arrived from Olympiacos in March, and just off the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous ball from Lee. As you say, out climbs the crowd scene and hits the top of the bar.
Newcastle are back in this game, and as Christopher Ray goes off, David Platt comes on.
I would think he's not going to play as an out-and-out front player, Platty. I should think he's just going to drop off the front and try and arrest a bit of possession for them.
But does that show an anxiety on the part of Arsene Wenger?
I think he won't be happy the way they've started off. They haven't started off well at all. Whether it's untidiness, whether there's a little bit of something from Newcastle driving the game forward. But Ray has been out the game. Ray hasn't done much in the second half. He seemed to have faded from the scene completely.
Davitas with the header. Petit. Davitas again.
But actually, it actually looks as if Platt's going to play on the right-hand side of the midfield, and Parler's going to move in one.
Pearce banging it forward towards Shearer, but Winterburn is there. He seems to be moving okay now. Oh, Vieira, the jump beat Patty, or the bounce rather beat Patty. Howie battling away with Vieira, forced into a dangerous area, but Vieira's exuberance got the better of him, and it'll be a free kick to Newcastle United.
That is blatant, isn't it? And totally unnecessary.
And we hear from Gary Newbon on the bench that Kenny Dalglish has just told Ketspire to get well forward and play right alongside Alan Shearer. And Shearer's on his own. Shearer now. Oh, against the post. Newcastle are having no luck at all. That's Davitas against the post with a header, and now Shearer against the post with a terrific shot. A chance that came out of nowhere, and Newcastle were within, well, a lick of paint of being level.
Well, it came basically because Keown was sloppy. Dwelt on the ball, stumbled on it against one of the best strikers in the world. Though I must admit, when he shaped up, I didn't really fancy Shearer from there on his left side. But that was a superb strike.
And now Platt for Arsenal.
And there used to be a saying years ago, lucky Arsenal, and that's something you've subscribed to in the last few minutes.
Overmars on the far side. And Shearer gave us an example of his true world-class work there.
Yeah,
there was a chance out of nothing. His strength.
Yeah, desire, accuracy, seeming nowhere. I mean, that's a magnificent effort, and Keown probably can't believe his luck. But the Arsenal have been very, very sloppy this half.
Ketspire. Davitas. Pistone hit forward. Shearer versus Adams. Adams wins that one, but they still get the ball forward to Shearer. That was a great little intervention by David Batty at here Arsenal. Ray Parler, the Romford boy. Anelka, and Parler's gone on, and Parler will think, no, he can't, because Davitas got there first. Good play. Ketspire, it's really warming up now. Here's Winterburn wanting a share of the action. Taking on Pistone. Still taking on Pistone, and the little chip, just too high. Winterburn's never scored in an FA Cup time for Arsenal in all his 11 years there. And here we see the Keown mistake. Picked up by Shearer.
Look at the desire, look at the drive, look at the strength.
And look at that bit of bad luck for Newcastle. Batty. This is a game now, Ron.
Oh, it's a game. And all of a sudden, I'm looking around and thinking, come on, this fella, where's he been this half?
Overmars. Being well watched by Lee.
He's been the spark in the second half, Lee.
Yeah,
Lee carried the fight straight after half-time, won a few balls, drove behind the Winterburn area, if you like, and all of a sudden, I think a lot of these, that's a captain's job, a lot of people have picked up from him.
And perhaps Ian Wright soon to make his appearance.
And the only thing is you find it hard now to figure where he might play. I mean, I can't believe he might bring Anelka up, but I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, Overmars is...
Anelka's pace still frightens him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Winterburn. And here is Anelka. Davitas. Pistone keeping it in. Here comes Batty. Just listen to the Newcastle fans again. Up to Shearer. Now Speed. Oh, he's gone past two. Can he keep it going? Still with Gary Speed. Knocking it back to his captain. Finding Pistone. Arsenal pulled everybody back. Howie. Try their luck on this side now. Pearce. But Keown was there. Davitas playing it in again. Winterburn. Slack piece of play. Cut out again by Newcastle. Batty can't keep it going though, and Winterburn with a safer ball that time. But Newcastle will still keep it in play and keep possession.
It's almost as if somebody switched the lights off, hadn't it, with Arsenal. I can't remember a time they've put 3 or 4 passes together, and they've had possibilities of playing that ball in behind the Newcastle defence, and they haven't executed it well.
Vieira, still only a goal in it. Parler,
And now Anelka off. Oh no, the flag stays down. It's Anelka. It's a goal! 2-0.
Brian.
That settles it. That settles it.
I wonder here, Brian. I wonder. You almost called it. This will be an interesting playback. This. You almost called it in commentary whether he was offside, wouldn't you?
Well, there was a degree of suspicion about the offside, but the linesman kept the flag down, and Nicholas Anelka made absolutely sure.
Great finish. Terrific finish. I thought he should have gone on, but he's hit it across the keeper brilliantly. But I'd love to see this from the side. My first reaction was he was offside, and I'm still not convinced he wasn't. But that's a super finish.
19 years old, his 9th goal of the season, and he'll never score a more important one. Just when Newcastle look to be getting their way back into the game, and might still, here's Gary Speed. Been forced wide. Tetspire with the cross. Seaman with the punch, trying to fist it away.
Unless you're from North London, now I don't think anyone would begrudge Newcastle a goal, a lifeline to try and get back into the game.
Here's Parler. Oh, here's Parler. Here's Parler with a great run, and Howie might well have to go. No, he's got a yellow card.
Yeah, I mean, he's driving there. He's one of the players that hadn't picked up after half-time. Now, all of a sudden, he was driving, as you say, benefit of the doubt time for the player from the referee.
I thought there was going to be a red card there, but Howie got... I'm glad there wasn't, because I hate seeing people sent off, particularly in cup finals, and the referee decided that punishment was enough. And they're 2 down as it is. It could become 3 as Arsenal now look for this free kick. Over Mars. Petit. Flat's gone right through into the 6-yard area. Vieira is making a little run as well. Newcastle will need to have their eyes everywhere. It's Petit, and it's just over.
Yeah, they're playing that cat and mouse game, wasn't it? Batty's gone on the line. Flat's gone right up against him where he feels he. Batty then comes out and says, "I'll try and catch you offside." Meanwhile, it's a bit confusing for the goalkeeper.
Is he offside? Well, in our caption at the top there, actually, he looks as though he might be level.
Yeah,
it looks as though he might be level.
Still need to see it more from the side, but.
Matty, hit long. Shearer's got enormous work to do now. And Arsenal well on their way to repeating their double triumph of 1971. Double teams of the last century, a great Tottenham side of Danny Blanchflower in 61, Arsenal 71, Liverpool 86, Kenny Dalglish would have known all about that, and Manchester United in 94 and 96, and Andreas Andersson, the Swedish striker, coming on and taking off Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, that looks like Pistone will come on this side of the field. Barton back to right full back, and then Anderson right up alongside Shearer.
So there's 17 minutes left. Newcastle need to make inroads on this Arsenal lead very, very quickly indeed. Only Manchester United have won the double twice, and Arsenal are now, what, a little over a quarter of an hour from equalling that. Here's Ray Parler, and there's space for him, and there are willing teammates outside him. David Platt here. Yes, he tried to play the ball in again for Parler. It came off a Newcastle player for a corner. Petit will take it. Anelka, scorer of the second goal. And Rob Lee ducking in to get that away quite
comfortably for Newcastle. And here's Anderson with the number 40 on his back. How often have we seen that at Wembley, I wonder? And no doubt he will be designated a place right alongside Shearer up front. He's a young player, but he's got all the pace to him as well, Anderson. And if the heat has taken some of the strength from the Arsenal defence, who knows, he might yet do something. Here's Davitas. Here's Gary Speed. Poor ball, not likely to reach Shearer. Parler. He's grown stronger as this game's gone on. And his pass to Anelka is a good one here, but Anelka will leave too easy a job really in the end for Steve Howie. Parler's leapt into form in this last quarter of an hour or so.
Oh yeah, I thought first half he was excellent. Second half, after he came back, I thought he's got a bit sloppy, but as you say, he's all of a sudden started to drive at the game again.
Something around £3 million, which is a far cry from the first final here in 1923, when the take at the gate was £27,000. Here's Overmars. Barton. Well, Barton's already been booked. He's brought him down there.
I think it's a safe bet. If he hadn't been booked, I think he'd have gone in there again. I think that's a sympathy vote. What was that first final like, Brian, you were talking about?
What are you going to say when I'm gone, eh?
You'll never be gone, Maura.
It's Winterburn with the free kick. Petit. Anelka, just look at that little flash of pace, pulling the back over. Okay.
Could have been the villain of the piece, couldn't he, with the sitter he missed early on?
Yeah, true.
Persevered, and I mean, showed there. I mean, that was a great finish. You know, whether it was on or whether it was offside, it was marginal, whichever way, but still, it still took some finishing.
There's Batty. There's a long ball towards Shearer. Shearer gets there with his head. He is so good in the air, but Tony Adams sweeping up. Newcastle got a throw. And the clock ticks on. And they're taking Warren Barton off now. Steve Watson, the lad from North Shields, is coming on.
Yeah, I think that's sensible as well, you know. Barton's had one or two hairy moments with challenges already on sudden death with his booking, and nobody will want to try and change the game more than this kid.
Speed. Nice touch getting past Vieira. Shearer. And Watson gets his first touch. Been a Newcastle supporter all his life. Played for them when he was about a 16-year-old. And here he is again on the ball now, playing for them in a final. Well, that was a huge challenge there by Winterburn. And here's Anelka again, and Given has come way out of his goal.
Isn't that a lovely feeling, you know, all that space to run into for a midfield player. Go on, stand it in there, and we've got the quickest man in the world after us. Or seems to be the quickest man anyway.
Well, what an incredible season for this splendid manager, Arsene Wenger. Frenchman, so shrewd and scientific, and the players say incredibly calm even under the greatest pressure. Well, there'll be tears on the paintwork, I guess, by the end of the day. But certainly Newcastle are fighting still for all they're worth. Notice with Mano Petty. Overmars couldn't get to it. Anelka.
It's funny, they've paid no special attention to Overmars this half, and he hasn't really. I know that's tempting fate. He hasn't really been in the game.
Ketspire gives it away. Here's Platt. And Harry is totally in command. Speed.
Had a cup of tea with his parents, Gary Speed, before the game, you know, and I mean, let's see this one
Let's
through.
see what happens to Anderson here.
They were saying whatever happens, they hope he has a better time. Remember, he came and played in the League Cup final for Leeds against the Villa.
Oh, that's right.
Played as a left-sided wing-back and didn't do particularly well, or the team didn't do well.
Here's the cross, but no good to Shearer. It's the one thing that really, above all, has been lacking in Newcastle this afternoon. They just haven't got down the flanks. They haven't got any sort of service to Shearer, particularly in terms of crossing.
In actual fact, the best crosses have come from Shearer himself.
That's right.
No, he's a good player, but it's a hell of a job trying to knock him in and getting the end of them yourself.
And Arsenal are just in total command now. Here's Overmars. Inside the last 10 minutes. When you think how Arsene Wenger completely recast this Arsenal side, Ron, you know, at the start of the tail end of last season, the start of this one, has produced a side that played not only good football, but terrific teamwork with him and a wonderful spirit within the club from all accounts.
Yeah, he's done very, very well.
Here's Pistone.
And somebody was saying to me, you know, he never raises his voice in the dressing room. I thought, oh no, but I bet if you've got the likes of Adams and Winterburn and that in the dressing room, I bet you hardest job trying to get peace and quiet. But they do play in a good way, don't they? I mean, they play in a way that if they're reinforced during the summer, which they probably will be, you know, I think they won't do bad in Europe either.
Watson doing well there. Ketspire, no, given away again. A chance for Arsenal to break. And they've got the pace of Anelka up there and the long legs of Vieira. But he's, oh yes.
I tell you what, he was standing upside Anelka. Yeah. The amazing thing was, I think Vieira could have caught that himself because they died the Newcastle backline. They'd just given the ghost up there.
Batty. Lee. Shearer. Still Shearer.
Oh, I'd have loved to have seen that one go in. I'd have loved to have seen that, you know, so we've got that. I know the Arsenal people wouldn't for the closing 10 minutes or so. I'd have loved to see it go to 2-1.
Here's Batty. Bit of space for Rob Lee. Couldn't make the most of it. Adams was there. Rob Lee is still battling though, but Arsenal get it away to Parler. And now to Platt, who's got fresh legs. And now to Anelka, who's got the swiftest of legs. And he takes on Pistone, and he's got past Pistone. The ball over the top.
There can be a disadvantage of being as quick as Anelka, you know. He runs so far away, the lads have to burst blood vessels to catch up with him. Look at that, there's an overdrive, a bit of turbo there. Shrugs the Italian boy off, nice little turn inside, sets once again, should have been on target, but that's a hard chance for Parler.
Now Vieira again. Here's Parler. What's Anderson doing right back there? Winterburn. He's got Overmars outside him. And Overmars, that's even stretching his capabilities. Who seems to have been everywhere this afternoon, and his game has grown in strength as Arsenal have.
I'll tell you what, the big lad's not doing so well second half. Is it Vieira? I mean, I think he's arguably, with Roy Keane, probably the best midfield player in the Premiership. He's not done so well in the second half here.
Here's Pistone. Banged away, and oh, can Shearer do something here? No, because Winterburn had got back there when Shearer had pulled his finger on the trigger, but somehow the shot didn't fire out because Winterburn had got there first, and it went behind for the corner.
I think your first reaction is he's offside, but that could be tackle of the season, that. Shearer, that was a goal, wasn't it? As soon as he started to pull up, he thought, well, this is 2-1.
Away, and Shearer has a shot charged down. Steve Watson's looking to get something in here. The whistle's gone for a free kick, and it'll be a free kick to Newcastle, and Shearer might fancy something from this range.
The good and the bad there of Vieira. Made a great block on Shearer's volley, and then trips Watson up when Watson's trying to gain an advantage. Umpires, they'd love them to score here. Make a great finish.
Gary Speed behind it. Well, I think
here's your man.
Here's the man. Fire's going off. And John Barnes. John Barnes is on.
Could he get in time to take this free kick?
Well, why not? I think Shearer probably's got his eyes on this one, though, but I don't know whether Barnes can work magic in 5 minutes, but at any rate, it's Shearer, and he's, well, not far wide. I'll tell you what, a yard inside that post, I doubt that David Seaman would have got there.
I think he would have cannoned off the wall, to be fair, if it had been on target. I mean, the wall was lying. I was looking to see whether the wall had actually jumped up, you know. You know, a lot of the walls jump up now to try and give height. Drill one underneath.
Into Platt. And Elka's chasing. Here's Parler. Dixon. Here's Parler. Oh, he's done well here, but oh, he's done well here, Parler. Oh! Well, Pistone claims that he was having his shirt tugged, but Parler made an irresistible run through there and just into the side netting.
That would have been a great finish to what's been an exceptionally good season for Ray Parler.
Pistone. Batty. Anderson. Cavizas. Anderson. Can Newcastle still find a way out of the jungle? No. That's when you think, though, they hit the woodwork twice. Davizas header and Shearer shot.
All at the big time, by the way, wasn't it?
The Archbishop of Canterbury there would be very happy indeed as an Arsenal fan. Still a look of concern on Arsene Wenger's face, but I guess with less than a couple of minutes to go, we shouldn't really worry too much. Oh, my word! That was nearly one of Wembley's extraordinary goals there. Fully 50 yards or more, and Overmars spotting that Given was that little bit off his line. He hit it superbly.
Oh, he didn't half drill it. I mean, my first reaction when he got possession was, he's going to flip this over the top and put an Elka in again.
Watson.
I think that's lazy, you know. Don't run with it, just bash it.
Here's Anderson. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's got a finish to him, has he? Oh! Just this fraction wide from Gary Speed.
They must be asking themselves why. You know, I know the game changes from the situation 1-0 down, but they've certainly, if they'd maybe driven the game like this in the first half, they may not have been looking down the barrel at half-time.
Correct.
I mean, I think maybe they may have been paying too much attention to what Arsenal were doing and trying to, instead of saying, all right, let's drive our own game. It's actually touch and go now. Who's had the better chances?
You're right again. And on another day, Newcastle might have had 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
Rob Lee. Shearer still chasing. Still battling against all the odds there, whatever anybody may feel about him. And gets a corner for Newcastle now. But we're coming to the last seconds of the 90 minutes. Is going for this one. Speed will turn it back. Watson playing it in again. But here's Vieira. Batty. Lee. But again, Arsenal will shut the door.
I tell you what, Brian, we said that we were frightened at the beginning about the heat and everything. What about the tempo of the game?
It's been wonderful, hasn't it?
It hasn't been the most technically, the most thrilling, whatever in terms of that, although there's been plenty of incidents. But in terms of drive and people's commitment, you know, in this weather, tremendous, particularly at the end of a long season for both sides.
And there's a lucky punter somewhere, a Ladbrokes punter who had won 60,000 quid on Chelsea winning the Cup Winners' Cup, put it all, or rather 30,000 quid, put it all on Arsenal winning here today. And if they do, he picks up 120,000 quid.
And what will you spend it on?
And it looks very much as though Arsenal are just about home now. Do you think Ramondi may come on? Well, first, will Overmars have something to do here? A good, forceful header back by Dabizas, kept his cool, gets the ball back again, plays it up once more to Lee. A chip forward now, again to the willing Shearer. Speed. Still with Speed. Still looking for Shearer, but that time Keown got there. And there goes the final whistle. Arsenal have completed the double. Only the second club ever, Manchester United were the first to do a double-double. First in 1971 and now in 1998. Mark Overmars started it with that goal after 23 minutes. And Nicolas Anelka sealed it for good and all with that thundering goal in the second half. Newcastle, well, they didn't do themselves justice in the first half, but they battled out superbly in the second, hit the woodwork twice, had chances, and on another day might well have made 2 or 3 goals themselves. But it's Arsenal who go into the record books, and for once it's Kenny Dalglish who couldn't find a way to find a winning side here at Wembley. The Arsenal fans celebrate. Previous winners in 1993, they're here again 5 years later, and Tony Adams picks it up again. He's captained Arsenal to 6 trophies now. 7 with this, 3 in the league, 1 in the FA Cup, 1 in the League Cup, 1 in the Cup Winners' Cup, and now he makes it 2 in the FA Cup. Good team performance.
Oh, excellent. I mean, they had that stutter after half-time when I honestly think they got casual and complacent. And added to the fact that Newcastle drove and realised that that might be their opportunity. Lady looked smart, though, certainly took a couple of shots at the woodwork. They just couldn't, Newcastle just couldn't force an equaliser, and then all of a sudden, that man there in Alfio shows his pace, his class. He sealed the game.
Did so much for Arsenal in this season of triumph, and what's important now for him, of course, is that he is fit for Holland in the World Cup. Let's hope too this man is fully fit and raring to go for England in the World Cup. And he's certainly battled hard today, without the rewards, hitting the post once. Let's talk to Mark Overmars, who's with Gary Newborn.
Congratulations, Arsenal do the double again, but looking back, that goal was so important in view of what happened in the second half.
Yeah, it's easy for us if we score a faster goal, then it's easier to play. And then the second half, because the weather was so hot today, then the power, it was such the game. It needs so much power of you. So second half we scored 2-0 and it's over.
This Arsenal side has grown and grown so much. What does the double mean to you as a Dutchman playing in England?
That's where you can dream of. It's in your first year, first season, and it's such a big 2 prizes. It's amazing.
Okay, and what about Newcastle? I mean, Shearer had that great chance, hit the post.
Yeah, it hit the post. You saw it. We get a little bit tired in the second half, and then you get a lot of space, and they had one shot on the post, but it was not enough.
Well done. You're an FA Cup hero today.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Well done.
It was certainly the Overmars goal that got things going, and the tradition here at Wembley now that the losers go up first, those long 39 steps, and for a loser it must seem like 139. They've tried so hard after a season of turmoil to bring something for their fans at the end of it, but that just wasn't happening. But if you look at the Newcastle fans now, they are applauding their side right up those 39 steps to the Royal Box, and the manager too. They are the most fantastic fans.
I also think, Brian, they appreciate the fact that they didn't lie down and die. That was the worst possible scenario just before half-time. They came out, they drove the game, and on another day might have salvaged something.
So the losers' medals come from His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, to the captain Rob Lee. Good influence. Warren Barton behind him, Steve Harry the centre-back. And what a gutsy performance by Alan Shearer. The keeper, Shay Gibbon, who had no chance with the two. A loser again, sadly for poor Stuart Pearce, as he was in 1991 with Nottingham Forest here against Tottenham. Gary Speed, a loser again at Wembley. The local boy, Steve Watson, didn't make it. John Barnes just got a short taste of it, but no more. I wonder, the first Greek there, Davizas, and Kenny Dalglish too. And deep in their hearts, no doubt, they say to themselves, here comes the FA Cup, by the way, already with its red and white ribbons on. That's always a last-minute thing that they do, the FA around the back of the Royal Box. And there it is. That's the 4th cup, replacing one that had been going actually for 90 years, back in 1992, an absolute replica of the old one. A cup that means so much to every player that plays for it. Well, this just wraps up the most fantastic season for Arsenal. When they won the championship in such terrific style with a performance in the second half of the season. They laboured actually in the FA Cup with something like 3 replays and 2 penalty shootouts, but they had great mental strength and they survived it all. They've survived it here today. They survived the 39 steps, led once again by Tony Adams. It's a familiar route for him, the captain of Arsenal since he was a mere 21-year-old. And now, of course, Newcastle go into the Cup Winners' Cup in any case. Arsenal in the Champions League as champions. Big smiles. And the Cup, once again, returns to North London with Arsenal's Tony Allen. The the 7th time they've won it, and applause for Arsenal, let it be reported, from all the Newcastle fans here. There's a great picture of all the Newcastle fans who are applauding Arsenal almost as much as their own fans, and really it's been that sort of occasion on the day.
And I tell you what, Mauro, you have done it credit. It's been a great game, a tremendous game, tremendous atmosphere. Well done, Carl. You were brilliant.
Thank you, Ron. It's been a wonderful day to be here. Martin Keown.
What I forgot to add was that I'm sure all the viewers of ITV wish you a happy retirement.
Oh, thank you, Ron.
But what they don't want is you to retire.
Thank you for that.
You will be back.
Well, it's been great working with you, my friend, anyhow. And this has been one of the great afternoons, not least for men like Mark Overmars and Ian Wright. Ray Parlour, who Ron Atkinson regarded as the man of the match. Ron Parlour, Ray Parlour, incidentally. The French connection, Anna Petit, Patrick Vieira, Gilles Gremondi just gone away. The man who didn't play. The footballer of the year and the man who managed a double winning side, Arsene Wenger. So a triumphant scene as Arsenal take the cup for the 7th time. We take a short break.
David Seaman, Tony Adams. First of all, Tony, congratulations, the double.
It's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a super day.
But it was hard work today for you.
Yeah, it's obviously sad for the Newcastle supporters and team. You know, they've come, look at them, they're still cheering. It's unfortunate it's got to be losers, but it's our day today. So.
Well, this team has come some way since December, hasn't it?
Yeah, I got back in the side.
Well, what part has Arsene Wenger played as far as you're concerned?
He's very calming influence on the boys, you know. He's got his feet on the ground, and let Dave have a word.
Okay, just let me ask one thing before I go to David. I mean, it's been a terrific year for you personally as well, Tony. I mean, you put your act together.
I'm only part of the team.
On a personal basis, you've done very well.
They've been fantastic. Nigel Winterburn, all the boys are exceptional. It's Arsenal's day today, not mine.
Okay,
I'm just part of it.
Well done, Tony. David Seaman, you've seen it all, but now you've got the double. I mean, what an achievement for the club.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I hope Bob, you're watching, mate, because we've done it. It's a great picture in the dressing room, but I've done it, mate.
Yeah, that's
great, really.
Yeah. There was a nasty moment for you when Shearer hit the post, though.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hopefully I had it covered, but no, I was nowhere near it. But you know, it wasn't their day.
Well, nice to see David Seaman there. Seems a long time, 27 years ago, since I was able to be part of a similar day. But I guess Arsenal, in the end, you felt deserving.
Oh, yeah, all over the game, totally deserving.
When you say all the game, Newcastle made a terrific game of its second half.
Yeah, I think they changed tactically a little bit in the second half, but put Burton a little bit more forward on the right, so they put more pressure on them. The strange thing was, when they were in the game better, Arsenal scored a goal.
Yeah. Newcastle, the unlucky part, came in a 6-minute spell, Glenn.
Yeah, they had a bit of a spell where they've hit the bar and they've hit the post and then Shearer's chance, but overall Arsenal with a bit of sign. But this is what that one is. It's your day, that goes in the top corner when it's your day, and Arsenal had a bit of rub of the green here. Terrible mistake from Martin Keown, and the best chance that Newcastle have had has been given to them rather than created. Allen's sort of hit the target, you expect him to score from there. I think the spinner's just taken that ball away and hit the post.
Wonderful strike, wasn't it?
It was a great strike, but you know, that's the sort of finish that you normally see him hit the back of the net.
You were admiring the strike of young Nicholas Anelka that really finished it, tied it up, Ruud.
Oh, yeah, if you see his first touch, that is the one who does the business. And I think also from here, it's not offside, he's just level. I think here, look, here is even before him. So, and here, good touch, second touch even better. So, it's a perfect strike. From a striker's point of view, he done everything perfect. And that is something that I admire. Also, Shearer, he had one chance, and he was near there. On target, all the time.
Okay, well, we're going to talk again in a couple of moments, but we're going to get more reaction after we take another short break. Well, these are the scenes at Wembley. The 1998 FA Cup final's been won by Arsenal. It's ended 2-0 here at Wembley, but we're going to hear from the Newcastle manager, Kenny Dalglish, with Gary.
Kenny, the level of disappointment is obvious, but what was your assessment of the final?
I think they were better in the first half, but in the second half we get a lot more in here. Push forward a little bit. Hit the bar and hit the post at 1-0. If we get a goal there, I think we could have gone on and won it because I thought they were tired. The guys gave us everything they had. They had a very good side, and I think the response to the supporters at time up is quite unique. It's the first time I've seen both sets of fans think that they've both been winners on the day. So they were grateful for the effort shown by the players, but unfortunately we couldn't get them a silverware.
I know it's the oldest question in the Cup final book, but what did you say to the players at half-time to bring about that improvement?
No, sometimes one team has the best in the first half, sometimes your own team gets the better in the second half. They're good players, and we just believe it. We're good players, and we'll do a bit better. And I think in the second half we just had a wee bit more belief in themselves.
Kenny, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Bad luck, Kenny. But we can hear now from the winning manager, from the Arsenal manager, the Frenchman, Arsene Wenger.
Arsene Wenger, first of all, congratulations, you win the double. I mean, that is a fantastic achievement in your first full season.
Yes, I couldn't even dream of that at the beginning of the season, but it slowly we came into a good run, and after we just went from game to game. I must say as well, we're sometimes a little bit lucky in the Cup, especially at West Ham, but we had the great spirit, and we have shown it again today.
Well, you certainly got on top in the first half, but the second half was a bit sweaty for you when Shearer hit the post.
There was Newcastle was unlucky today because when we were 1-0 up, the turning point in the second half was when Martin Keown slided away and Shearer hit the post, and straight after 5 minutes later we scored the second goal. But it was a real cup game, and in the second half we didn't play enough and protected too much the score.
Well, now you can relax. It's been a hard season, very successful season. Congratulations.
It was a fantastic season, and but a stressful one, yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
Like they won.
Yes, well done, Arsene Wenger. Glenn Hoddle, you know that man so well. You told us about him before the game.
Absolutely delighted for him, Bob. You know, to do the double in his first full season is incredible, an incredible feat, and delighted for him because he's a close friend of mine, and it's great to see him do so well. Pleased for David Dean and everyone else involved in Arsenal Football Club because they've deserved it this year. They really have.
Rudy was you out there 12 months ago. You're while we're looking at the Arsenal celebrations, you were actually expressing a little concern about Newcastle for next season.
Yeah, of course, if I see what they have as a team in quality, then I am very concerned. I spend a lot of money, and I don't know what I'm going to do next year. Effort is not enough nowadays anymore. You need to have players who can play from the back, who can have technique. If you see Tony Adams now, from maybe 5-6 years ago and not playing now, he can play the ball, can play it in, he supports. It's a lot better than he did before. So that's what Newcastle needs.
Yeah. Just tell us about, I mean, Manchester United were the first club in this country to do the double-double. Arsenal have done it. They're both in the Champions League next season, Glenn.
I think that's going to give us a great opportunity to do well in that competition. We've got Arsenal and Manchester United now in it. Two very strong clubs, two clubs that are striving to become better clubs, better teams in Europe. And I think we're capable of doing very well next year.
Do you think the same, Ruud?
I think the same. If you see, they've done already well in the last couple of years. If you've seen Chelsea has won the cup also in Europe, and Manchester United has been very nearby, and I think now with Arsenal, I think they become only better. So I think we have 3-4 teams maybe who can
could do very well next year in the European Cups.
Well, I really enjoyed having your company this afternoon. Really great to have you on board, Glenn. Great, good luck in, obviously in France. So there we are. Arsenal have added the FA Cup to their Premiership title, but let's not forget Newcastle, who did hit the woodwork twice in a 2-minute spell in the second half. An amazing first season for the Frenchman, Arsene Wenger. It's a double-double for the North London club from all of us at ITV Sport. Goodbye.
Go on! Go on! Penalty!
Arsenal are celebrating victory in this year's FA Cup final. They beat Newcastle 2-0 to clinch the double for the second time in their history. The goals came from Mark Overmars and Nicholas Anelka. Our sports correspondent Graham Miller is at Wembley now. Graham.
Yes, the 2-0 success means Arsenal are celebrating their second double success, only the 6th club to achieve that in the history of the English game. Because of the heat here at Wembley today, this was never going to be a classic FA Cup final, but the passion was there.
Wembley Way heaved with its traditional pre-match colour and much excitement from the two sets of fans, and it did appear as if the Geordie faithful outnumbered their counterparts from the capital. Inside, the Archbishop of Canterbury was waiting, an Arsenal supporter. So was Elvis, who also apparently favours the Gunners. But it was the Geordies who were all shook up twice in the first half. First, a great Arsenal build-up, but Anelka's header was just over. Then, minutes later, the Gunners got a direct hit. Overmars collected the through ball from Petit, and the £7 million man touched it home. 1-0 to the Arsenal, and the double was in their sights. Second half, and Newcastle found their touch, but not their luck. First, Dabizas hit the bar, then a Keown stumble gave Shearer a chance, but the England captain hit the post. Just as Newcastle's agony began to take hold, Arsenal killed them off. Was Anelka offside? It doesn't matter now. 2-0 the score. Newcastle kept battling, but nothing would go right for them, whatever they tried. Kenny Dalglish could hardly bear it. It was Arsenal's day and Arsenal's season. The FA Cup to add to their Premiership success. It's the moment captain Tony Adams has been dreaming about.
Tomorrow, the scenes of joy will be repeated.